Texas.
Yeah.
But I look like
Really just wanted to
the
see
girl
how
next
it
door.
was.
They need to put me in the morning. I'll make sunny side up eggs.
All you gotta do is ask if you're willing to
There's
go to
a girl in
Harvard
here.
Sparrow, though. And
All right, we're live. Don't incriminate yourself.
That is correlation. Welcome, Alice.
All right.
I know we immediately like,
oh shit.
oh no. There's nothing to talk about now.
All of our
Okay, so
memories.
do you
all of our
remember the
memories
first
have been
time that you
erased.
saw this?
All this
Nick,
fentanyl in my butthole is really.
do you remember the first time that you saw this movie?
Yeah, I can actually give you a direct citation.
Yeah.
My abusive, manic depressive uncle, who is a world leading anesthesiologist, randomly brought this movie home because he would just pull movies like Dune and whatnot, and he would just watch them, and everyone else would just kind of be like, "Okay, son."
Yeah.
And I'd just be sitting over there like playing with He-Man action figures, like.
So he
what
was
is
a weirdo
happening?
with his
Hey,
family.
cool. What's up, Josh?
What up, dudes?
We are live. We're still getting things set up.
I'm live here at Indy Luna. Let me get in some light.
Loney.
We're talking about Dark City, so I guess I should just be in the shadows.
Yeah, actually, go ahead and kick it off. We just got started.
Oh, nice.
Got it.
Well, that's cool because I only have like a second
Go ahead.
because I'm filming a show. But hey, this is one of the best movies that no one talks about. Would everyone agree with that?
Yes.
Like when I try to tell people like, hey, you should watch Dark City because it's sick. They're like, watch Dark what?
Yeah.
It's like just not even like on people's radars. And it's, I would say like way better than, you know, the movies it's compared to, like The Matrix and whatnot. Like it's just a much more, for me, it's really original, but it's also like, it's just got this insane noir vibe. And it's got, you know what it has? It's kind of like when you when you hear a rock band and they have edge, like the movie has edge. Like there's just something about it that's just stylish and cool and really like timeless too, because they go for that noir vibe. And so when you show it to people and you don't tell them what it's about, and then you eventually come to, I assume we can have spoilers, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you eventually come to all these like weird weeble wobble heads, and they're all in like their strange, like Kafka-esque, like alien conference room. You know what I'm talking about? And you just immediately start going like, what the fuck is going on? And it just
And the
takes you on this
contrast between
ride.
those two things, like where you see the city above and it's this very normal, like sort of anachronistic, we can't tell what time period it is exactly. And then it like just flash like cuts down to them in that room below with the giant head and the machine. And you immediately like know that there's a massive difference. These people may not even be people, but you still don't really know what's going on. You don't know if they're on Earth or, you know, if these people are running an experiment on them or whatever. But yeah, I love.
Well, you assume it's Earth the whole time, and so you're just wondering like, have these people taken over the Earth? Have they always been in charge of the Earth? Right?
Yeah.
Like, and who knows? Maybe Alex Proyas, the director, knows something we don't, because based on the last couple of years, it wouldn't surprise me. But
I'm so glad you said that because I didn't know how to pronounce his name.
Alex Proyas, yeah. Dude, he also did The Crow, which is a sick movie. And then
Over, am I right?
I think he did iRobot, which was all right.
Did he direct it?
Yeah, he directed iRobot. Yeah.
And then he did some
Very much
really
had a
terrible
very strong
movies.
Vibe, like the cinematography in it, very much. It had a early comic book style vibe to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a very comic book.
Like the screenwriter is worked on did the Dark Knight, and what else was it that he
The
did?
Blade movie.
Yeah, he wrote the Blade movie
Okay,
as
so
well.
Who's the screenwriter, Chance?
Yeah, the screenwriter, David.
Yeah,
S.
but what, do you
Goyer.
remember his name? I'm trying to remember his name.
David S. Goyer is his name.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, he's awesome.
So
Worked on.
they really have
Goyer?
a
Goyer?
for that kind of like 70s, 80s.
The irony of that name, Alex, is that he's probably Jewish, but his name is Goyer.
Well, that makes me even more suspicious.
Yeah.
A lot of time at all to get around to that. I'm really
Yeah.
glad to hear you say that though, Josh, because like that's what I've always said to people about this movie. And you and I have never even talked about this one. Of all the movies that you and I have talked about, like I don't know, I never brought it up, but like this has always been one of my favorites that nobody knew what I was talking about, you know. So like that's really that's great to hear. Of course you knew about it because you know good
Oh,
shit.
dude, one of my
Oh, yeah.
favorite. It's one of those movies too that I just kind of forget about
Right.
in a weird way. Not because it's not good, but just because it's not talked about. So like, like if people ask you like what's a sick sci-fi movie, like maybe I'll think of Blade Runner first because I know that like people are likely to have seen it. Whereas usually if you bring up Dark City, like I said, they're just like, what? And
similar to Blade Runner, like with this one, we watched the director's cut of it, which takes out the narration. The original film has like Kiefer Sutherland doing this narration over the very beginning of the movie, and he talks about the strangers, and he like basically lets you in on the fact that
ruins it.
Yeah, like he ruins it, and they
That's
cut that
literally
out,
like
the director's cut, and they put it in the middle where it's supposed to be, and it's a much better film, just like the Blade Runner is.
Dude, that original voiceover is like going in with no lube and no warm up. You haven't even kissed someone yet, and you just stick a finger straight up their ass.
It's
Like,
fucking absurd, man.
it's like, hey man, what if we just ruined like the end of the movie at the very beginning? Wouldn't that be sick? Because the studio's afraid the audiences won't understand.
And I didn't
And
even
then
really think about it, but like the style of that and the Matrix, people always kind of compare them. And they came out, this one came out a little bit beforehand, but not very far. But like
about
the
a year.
style of the city specifically, the world that they build, where it's like the city that they're in could be any city. They don't tell you the name of the city. Like it seems like there's little pieces from different times and stuff like that. And you only see them use rotary phones, which I think is really interesting. But they have like the subways and the cars. You don't ever really see a TV, as far as I remember, in Dark City, like at all. But
no, there's like no electronics. There maybe are radios.
there's the radio stuff.
Well, they're also using things like the uncle has actual picture frames that they have to project. That's technology we left behind almost 100 years ago at this point now. The diner is always one that comes to mind.
The automat?
The automat,
with an automatic system to it.
And I love that scene in particular because like the way that the dialogue's delivered, where he's like, you left your wallet here. When did I leave it here? Last time you were here. When was that? When you left your wallet? Like it's this weird circular spiral conversation that happens to him. And that's the first time that you see him use that ability, when he like opens the lock on the deal that has his wallet, and like he doesn't even realize that he did it. He's just like, oh shit, it just
there's an idea in the movie that is him talking to himself. That is his actual like inner monologue.
The automat guy?
Yes. That is his brain trying to actually come to terms with the idea that he has no idea who he is or what he's doing.
Yeah.
So it's like, when did you leave your wallet here? I don't know, the last time you left your wallet here, because that's what your brain would think.
Yeah.
You have no actual direction to go. There's a couple times in the movie with, I think I'm getting ahead of myself with the idea of like lost identity though, that he is almost projecting his own identity at all times throughout the movie, in the same way that the automatic diner guy was telling him what his brain would tell him.
Yeah.
Which is, you lost your wallet. Yeah, no shit, dumbass.
Yeah.
You left it here.
And that was something that we talked about after we watched it, was like his core, the core of that person, whoever he is, his name's not even John Murdoch, but whoever that guy is that's in there, like that person's still in there. And you see him make choices that go against the identity that he was supposed to receive. And like that speaks to the fact that he was like an individual underneath and has like
it's the paramount nature of the soul, right?
Yeah.
Like the idea that if you think about even especially the time that the movie would have been written and kind of the childhood that those who wrote it would have had, right? Like you basically have people who grew up or came of age in like the Reagan era, which was a heavily propagandistic era. And you kind of have this, to me, there's like this notion of like part of the classic Americana of like the automat and like just like the femme fatale like outfits and everything like in the old school cabs it's kind of like it is a very much American city. You don't know which city it is, but you definitely know that city is American. Right? You would never mistake that city for a city in Europe, you know?
That's
And
yeah.
so like kind of the nature of like identity in an era when people are telling you who you are and what you need to be and basically reshaping reality, you know, with like, you know, the adjustments of, you know, how we think about family, how we think about like fundamental elements of human society, I think is a big part of the thematic nature of the movie and just getting back to like and just the desire to escape that and to find Shell fucking Beach, which is really just, you know, peace of mind and nirvana in a in an era of noise.
Yeah, he really loved that beach. I mean, and you brought up a good point. What did you say about the whole thing about the only memory that he has of sunshine is that beach? Like, of course, you would want to be getting back to that if you're living in a city that you've never seen the light.
Darkness and
Yeah.
nihilism almost.
Yeah.
Consumerism is a big part of that. That we're getting ahead way too much to have a whole thing about that later. But
Nihilism is a good thing to bring up though, because he's a very Nietzschean figure, right? He is in a sense like an Ubermensch.
Hmm.
And then you have this very Germanic the theme, and I feel like this is reinforced by the God, what do they call the alien people?
The strangers.
The strangers, right. The strangers have this incredibly German expressionist look to them, right?
Yeah.
Like they, if you look at old German expressionist movies, you know, Nosferatu, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, stuff like that, right? That's exactly what they're referencing in their like makeup and costume
Yeah.
and affect and kind of the otherworldliness of it. And so I feel like that German element is kind of there to kind of nudge you towards recognizing he's like a Nietzschean Ubermensch. And thus he has the ability to craft reality and shift it. Like basically they're telling you you have a choice, right? Like, and that's one of the messages of Nietzsche that gets kind of people think about like a lot of the pessimism of it, but there's actually he's basically saying no, accepting this paradigm is inherently pessimistic, but once you recognize the paradigm, you know, that God is dead and all that shit, fucking that's when you actually have the ability to change it, you know. And so through his like ubermenschness, he's able to create sunshine, you know what I mean? And it really kind of reinforces that we choose to live in this kind of dark propagandistic world.
Okay.
We don't actually like, but we could choose not to. We could all just decide, fuck that.
Yeah, no, that's actually like I can see that now.
I think they call that a false enlightenment. The first step to actual true enlightenment is realizing that you know nothing, so that you can actually empty your brain to know something.
Yeah, well, he knows nothing. He's
Absolutely nothing in the movie, that's for sure.
To totally sidetrack, that's my favorite quote from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure of all time, where he's like, "The only true knowledge consists in knowing that you know nothing." That's us, dude.
I just watched the movie The Stuff, and they're like, "You're not as dumb as you appear to be," and the main character Mo goes, "No one's as dumb as I appear to be."
Good lines.
I forgot to do this earlier, so I'm gonna do this now before I forget again. I'm gonna just introduce everyone real quick. We got a bunch of people. I'm gonna do this quickly.
I fucked this up for everybody.
Not at all.
Joining over Zoom, we have Josh Loney of The Absurd, Peyote Catfish. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. I know you're filming or shooting for a show right now, so thanks for taking the time to do this. Off camera, we have the Neef. You can catch the Neef and the full flavor.
Yeah.
First Friday at Underdog in December. So don't miss that. Mr. Chancellor Ruster will be joining him, also of Catchfire. You got any shows you want to plug?
Indeed. Yeah, we're playing that, and then we're playing. I'll have to look it up, but we're playing very soon. Actually, we're playing like 10 days.
Great plug.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should mention
Catchfire playing also.
Anastasia Elliott. I also play bass for, and she's playing the Vinyl Lounge tomorrow. So
yeah, you guys are playing tomorrow. That's right.
Yeah,
come on out.
Remind me about that. Anastasia Elliott tomorrow at Vinyl Lounge. Go do that. To Chance's left, we have Kris. Kris works in theater. You were telling us about something, a production coming up soon. You want to plug that real quick?
Yeah, sure. So my current production, Thanks Killing the Musical, is sold out for its remaining weekend.
because everyone wants to see teens get axe murdered by a turkey.
And it is
Yeah.
hysterical. I'm just saying.
There's a drinking game with it. Because it's professional. I went to college for it. It's very important. And then yeah, coming up, the same theater company, Street Theater, is doing VHS Christmas Carol, which is a musical version of A Christmas Carol where everything is styled after 80s music. And then I'm doing the Kindling Arts presentation of A Muppet Christmas Carol, which also has a lot of drinking in it.
Cool.
You just have to like fireball.
Here in front of me, we have Mr. LazyPhalanges, the host of this podcast. He's going to do his best to wrangle these tards, but there's a lot. All of our moms took Tylenol, so be patient with us. To his right, we have Mr. David Pinna. He's a visual artist, knife back on Instagram. And to his right is Cheyenne, Pullover Media. And then over there, we have Nick and Raven of Adiractic. Y'all have a demo out. What's the name of that?
Lo-Fi GG, and then we have Little Miss Misery. You can find us on Bandcamp, or you can harass Raven on her Instagram until she gives you information about it. And we should have our first actual song done whenever Neef's ready to put it out.
Hell yeah, just put that on me. And,
right.
Back into the episode. I just want to do that real quick.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta make magic.
So one of the things that he brought up was like the way that they move, like
What?
their
Chance,
yeah. Sorry.
if I may, can we go back to, I think it was a great question you had about the first time you saw it. Maybe we go around the room and see for each person, the first time, if this is the first time they saw it, just recently, or when they did see it.
Okay, the first time I ever saw this was when my abusive uncle back in the 90s would bring home weird movies at Thanksgiving that no one wanted to watch. And he brought Dark City the year before, or a couple years before, he brought The Crow. So obviously he was into some dark stuff. I remember he brought Dune home one day. And yeah, I remember playing with He-Man action figures and just staring at the screen, wondering what was going on. And it might have broke my mind a little bit. So
I mean, how old were you? Like
I would have been
10?
like, what year did this come out? 97? 98?
Yeah.
I would have been 9 years old.
Okay, right.
So
Yeah.
Just young enough to be like, I don't completely understand everything here.
But the images stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Every part of this stuff. I definitely remember the first time I saw the Stranger. Who is the main antagonist, Stranger?
That's actually, and I can't think of his name, but he's the guy that wrote Rocky Horror.
That's
He's the guy with the hair like mine in Rocky Horror. Rip Rap.
Rip Rap, yeah.
Yeah, when he takes his hat off and he's like, I've got work to do. Like, I remember that visually. I have nightmares about that still for some reason.
But you probably have some really insanely good dreams about 9-year-old you seeing Camilla Rhodes take her shirt off.
That was my
Camilla
story.
Rhodes, no? That's the lady from Mulholland Drive, I'm just saying, and she's very hot.
Yeah.
That
Nice.
was one of the best scenes in the movie.
It's like, you're like, yeah, well, you've officially made it into movie history because you've been just like that like side character who's like incredibly memorably hot in like 2 incredibly good movies.
And topless.
Yeah, well, I don't think she is in Mulholland Drive, but she does kiss a girl, which is pretty cool. And she sings that song. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to detract, but I imagine 9-year-old you was like, Uncle, I don't know exactly what's happening, but this is awesome.
Well, before that, my dad grew up in Chicago during the Grindhouse movies. So I had already been introduced to some things that a little child shouldn't be. Thankfully, I kind of memory blocked most of it, but I'm just gonna be real, man. Like when they said Dark City, I don't even have to watch this movie. I have the entire movie basically memorized at this point. I watch it maybe every 2 or 3 months for 20 years now. So
Hell yeah, brother.
it's been an experience for me. But that's my story about
That's a
it. So.
lot.
Wanna go, Rick?
For me, the first time I actually saw it, I don't remember specifics, but well, you say it's when you showed it to me, but it was actually before that. My parents showed it to me because they were like, "Oh, you like the Matrix, right? Well, you probably like this," and they were just trying to show me all the weird movies they possibly could. But then when you showed it to me, like I hadn't remembered anything about it until I saw very specific scenes.
The tits.
With spirals
The
around
dead
them.
spiral
Yeah,
tits.
but what?
Yeah.
But what do you remember about the tits?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. No,
I really don't, I don't think I had anything other than that.
Stop bringing up the tits right now.
Yeah, what the fuck?
No, it's okay.
Sorry. Was
Um,
this the
I
first
guess
time
it's
you saw it?
my
Yeah.
turn. But yeah, the first time I saw it was with everyone. It was great. It reminded me so much of The Matrix, and I was like, I see where The Matrix gets its inspiration from, especially like the color schemes as well, which is really cool. Actually, I feel like a lot of movies were really inspired by this movie. Like it reminds me of like, especially like the cinematography of it, like Saw, for example.
Yeah.
The bathroom scene, the cinematography in Saw, the color schemes in Saw, the like lower lights with the greens. Sorry if I'm yapping, but
No,
yeah, I'll stop there. But yeah.
no, you're right. Like that's, and even while we were watching it, like there
And the
was stuff that you were
spirals,
noticing.
yeah.
Yeah, like I could tell like you were kind of like absorbing it like in that way.
Does anyone know off the top of their head if there were any like cross writers or special effects workers?
Not writers, but they actually used the rooftop sets from Dark City
Yeah,
were used in the Matrix,
Matrix.
like all that.
And
those
they
scenes of
actually
them running and
filmed
stuff,
The
same
Matrix in
set.
the same place, I
Yeah.
believe. Was it Australia or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's down
So
there.
Is
it's
that
just pretty
Melbourne?
crazy.
But
Actually,
yeah,
no,
like the
there's a
color
lot of
scheme, the
similar-
saw color scheme. The,
Yeah,
the
no, they
green
use the
lights and stuff.
staircase scene as well, like from The Matrix when they're like. Sorry, I haven't seen The Matrix in a hot minute, but there's like a similar staircase scene
Oh, yeah.
in Dark City as well as it's in The Matrix. So The
Mhm.
Matrix is definitely taking a lot from.
Oh, yeah.
The cinematographer.
They're both. Sorry, say what you were saying, Neef.
Adam Wolski was also did The Crow, and he worked with Ridley Scott on some of the stuff he did. So
That makes sense.
he's
Yeah,
kind of
well, and it's very Blade Runner, you know. And speaking of Ridley
Oh,
Scott,
yeah.
and they both, I think it and The Matrix both feature the Bradbury building. I think Matrix for sure does, which is
Yeah,
you know,
this
building
one might
that.
not have it, but yeah.
But like, I think that's the building that Roy Batty was hiding out in Blade Runner,
Right.
and you see it in so many movies of this like style, and it's a good nod. Sorry. Anyway.
Yeah, and it must be incredibly difficult, and for you as a lighting person, like to understand this, like to light something like this, where it's like there's never a light source that's coming from overhead necessarily, like
That
it's
is
Almost
really cool.
ambient
Well, I mean, that's the
light.
problem is there is a lot of light from overhead. There's nothing from directly forward.
okay.
That's what leaves all these gaps. And they use the presence of shadows the same way that they would use the presence of light in normal films, where whatever's dark has a purpose to it.
Hmm.
So I think it's supposed to put you in the same kind of brain fog that all the characters are in because you're missing so much of it visually. It could also be to make the movie look a little more expensive. But yeah, they use the absence of light a lot in this one. They're very
I
literal.
want to say, I'm thinking of the scene where Murdoch first meets the doctor and they're in the middle of the street and there's a lot of light on them, but immediately outside of the circle, it's basically pitch black, like you wouldn't be able to see this far. And it gives almost like a theater response of like, you're the main characters, you're
Yeah.
here, everything outside doesn't matter. It
It
almost
feels
menacing.
claustrophobic in that way too, because you're supposed to get the feeling, I think, throughout as the audience that this place is small feeling.
Yes.
And small and inescapable. So when you do actually see the city, you're like, oh, it's just as small as this movie made me think it was.
Isolated.
Just
Yeah.
like
Yes,
compacted.
lots of isolation, lots of being trapped with darkness, and lots of not knowing what's out there.
And
And it also kind of covers the, like they talk about how it's made from all these memories of different time periods. So I feel like it also covers that a little bit, where you would notice if there's like stuff from the 40s and stuff from the 70s, and you would see all of that. But if everything's just kind of dark, no one's noticing that it's wrong.
I want to say like that isolation feel, we haven't got to go yet.
No, it's
We're gonna
fine.
get to you in a second. I'm gonna stop yapping.
You're
That
welcome.
isolation feel, we really don't ever get a true sense of time because there's no day or night cycle. So in reality, we do not know how often the strangers, spoiler, are manipulating the city.
yeah.
And so the city is as tiny as, once again, you're saying it, but at the same time, the city looks infinitely vast. And it's because every time Murdoch goes outside, basically, it's like a completely new city. He has no
Yeah, 'cause
idea
they
of his
keep changing it every
bearings.
time, yeah. And it seems like it might be a 12-hour cycle based on the clock, like you see the clock
they would have
do.
They
like-
seem
I
like
assumed
they're
it was at
autistic
midnight,
on
like
the
every day it
schedules
changed.
for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it might be that, but again, we don't know how long they've been there, how many
Wait,
different lives.
This is a
they've
giant scientific experiment, and you know how scientists are about like, we have to do things by the book. I do not see them as people who are like, let's spontaneously just do this 15 minutes before we usually do it. I feel like they would definitely be like, it's on the hour every hour.
Yeah.
And they
Well,
change
yeah,
this
because you
part of
lose the
city.
gravitas of everyone gathering around to chatter their teeth and watch a giant clock. And like,
Yeah.
you want to keep the drama.
But
They
they're
seem
all
really
the,
into
but
that.
they're all the same person though. That's what, or same thing though. That's what's
The
so
same
weird.
dramatic thing.
Is like, yeah, they are a very, very
I
performative.
guess you could say it
Organism,
really is a
entity.
dark city.
The
Hence
Dark
the
City
name.
was the friends we made along
Was
the
this the
way.
first time that you saw it?
Yeah, first time, and I think this is this is a movie you'd want to watch multiple times, but I did pick up on like a lot of things even before they were revealed. I think the automatic diner had a lot of meaning to it, more than like people would take the first time. The thing about an automatic diner, because that's the first time I've ever seen one, you like go in, you put a coin, you like unlock the thing, you get the food item, and then it immediately gets like replaced by something else. So before the diner scene, he's at the hotel with the hotel guy clerk, right?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hotel clerk is there. He tells him, diner, whatever. Hotel clerk clearly gets killed off screen or whatever. After
He got subbed around.
yeah,
'cause
after
later
the
in
diner
movie-
scene,
They
I
see that
noticed
later,
I
yeah.
noticed that he got replaced by a black guy. Me and Lazy even made a joke like Dark City went woke or something. But that was like the first
I
time.
guess it really is a dark city.
But that was the first time before the reveal
Jesus
that
Christ,
people were
Alex.
being like cycled out.
Oh, yeah. He becomes
no,
the-
right,
the
yeah,
news,
absolutely.
the
Yeah,
newspaper
later on in the
story.
movie, you see him at like a newsstand and he says the same thing that he said to Murdoch about like not in black. And he makes some other quote that's exactly the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. And I like that you picked up on the automat.
Wait, you'd never seen an automat before?
It's way more symbolic, I think. That
Yeah.
Wait, is that a thing still? Like, I can't remember the last.
Well, not
I've never-
anymore.
I've never
but I mean,
been
it's
to
an
one.
old
I've never seen
movie.
one.
Wait, you've never seen this really obscure thing that doesn't
That was
exist?
only in the 1950s for a 5-year period.
I've seen
It
him
was
in, I've seen
only
him in
70
film,
years ago.
but
Yeah.
I've never like. been
There's a
to
lot
it.
of movies with it, I don't know. You ever
Oh,
No, I've
see?
seen him in
Yeah,
film
yeah,
before. I've just never like seen one in real life. But
Oh no, I would love to go to one in real life. Don't worry, it's coming. We're all getting replaced.
Coming soon to a Nashville near you.
That's my new club idea, my new hipster club.
You stick your head in to listen to the music.
It'll be Chat GPT Fridays.
So first time I saw this movie was with y'all 2 days ago. So I looked this up because I was curious.
Yeah.
It goes, what's the one with Jim Carrey?
Truman Show?
It goes Truman Show, Dark City, Matrix, within like a 2-year span.
Mhm.
All three of these movies came out at the same time, and it's a very similar subject matter in all three. Which is just strange to me that like in a 2-year span we got these 3 movies that are like about the same thing basically.
Yeah.
They're like thematically different a little bit, but like they all have their own vibe and they're all cool in their own way. But that's 3 like titans in the same like weird niche subject matter and genre, like right back to back.
You know what's funny about that to me? Truman Show and Dark City are infinitely more complex than The Matrix was, and both of them did not do that well.
They got overshadowed by the Matrix.
And The Matrix
Yeah.
was just accessible enough.
I mean,
right?
Truman Show won a bunch of Oscars. It did pretty well.
Wait, I don't remember anybody watching The Truman Show when it came out.
Oh,
Though.
you mean
Maybe-
you mean box office wise, it didn't do well. That's what you mean by that. 'Cause I
Maybe.
mean, like
I
I think at
don't
the
know.
time even it was really well known
Here's
as
the
far
thing.
as like the way it was done. Yeah.
If
like,
a kid talks about The Matrix, no kid was talking about Dark City. We
Yeah, I
already
see what you're saying.
agreed that, and no kid was talking about Truman Show.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
like
it's much
that
more of an
sense
adult
identity
only.
and like you aren't necessarily the person that society says
Yes.
that you are, like especially for like, not to get off on a tangent about another movie, but like the Truman Show, like his whole personality and identity were shaped by that entire environment around him that was completely controlled, but the person that he was inside, his soul was still an individual and was still that person that would sail on a boat to
Wasn't-
get out of the
I was
thing.
gonna say, wasn't he
So-
always wanting to be adventurous? Like, he
Yeah,
always
yeah,
wanted to travel. It was his
right. And
human
that goes back to
spirit.
the thing about like John Murdoch's like spirit, the fact that he picks up the fish right at the beginning of the film, and that's like literally almost the first thing you see him do, speaks to his like individual soul. And then he says the thing at the end. Richard O'Brien is the guy that wrote Rocky Horror and plays the main stranger,
Because
by the way.
the either detective or cop points that out, right?
What, that
Like,
he picked up the fish? Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
what would
like
do-
what
like,
kind of
what
a
kind of-
killer picks up a fish
Yeah.
and saves it? Exactly. So like that does speak to his soul and like this idea of the identity and the memory. It's like,
Why would a murderer
very
save a fish?
You are, it is your soul. Thank you.
Yeah, but it also shows kind of the clash of like, you have these aliens trying to do everything scientifically,
Mhm.
and this is like a contradiction within their system because they think everything is just memories or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, like the weird thing in the Matrix. About
Or whatever scenario they're setting up, that they think that's reality or the soul or whatever.
Yeah. And they've got it regimented down, like you said, it's like a scientific time frame. Like everything is controlled, everything is measured, even though they're psychically changing things night after night. Like they're doing it in a very like controlled and measured and scientific way. And this goes to like the thing that I've always thought about Kiefer Sutherland in that is like there's a scene where he talks about having to erase his own memories and how terrible it was and stuff, and they allowed him to keep his scientific abilities to help them like mix the shit, right? But like I've always thought, and I think this more and more, that it's like he seems like he would be like a Nazi scientist that was kidnapped and that he was actually being forced to erase memories of the horrible shit he did to other people. And it's like that would that be a blessing or would that be a curse? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because in the end, he does try to help Murdoch break them out of the cycle. It might be for his own, justification, but so I don't know. It's
Well, I think he has the same sort of like soul rebellion, right? Where like he knows right and wrong deep and down. He has, he promotes Murdoch's cause because he was trying to create Murdoch the whole time too. Like,
right.
wasn't that his
that
goal?
Evolution, that next step in like the generation.
So we brought up the Nazi comparison a couple of times here with like German expressions and things like that. And it's so weird because he, like you just said, he looks like a Nazi scientist. He is blonde haired, blue eyed. He's like little German chunky to the face kind of look to him. And I always thought this, the way the strangers are dressed reminds me of the esoteric Nazi scientist from Raiders of the Lost Ark when he walks into the bar and he takes off his hat and he's like, "Hi, Fraulein." Yeah. They're almost dressed identical
That's
to each
interesting.
other.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, sure.
That kind of brings into question once again, what is the time era here? Because all of these strangers are dressed more like secret police than they are actual Nazis or 1940s, 50s diners.
Yeah, well, and again, I think that just goes to the whole thing where he says like we made the city from different time periods. Like we took all these people from different time periods, like and
it's a little on the nose to have them so secret police dressed though. I know it's menacing.
Well, I think that like he says that they use their dead as vessels, like they have no sense of fashion or like they're literally just trying to like keep their faces hidden. I mean, you see them wear the hats.
Which would explain the hats.
Yeah.
That does bring, and the coats too, because the popped collars on the coats.
Chris had brought something up interesting about like if they were coming to Earth to abduct people and take them there, right? Like they look almost like they have the pale and the big heads and the bald heads and stuff like that. Like people could mistake them for
Y'all were
rays.
just talking about
Or Men in Black.
Yeah.
him reminding y'all of the German.
Yeah.
The character was actually written, I'm reading this right now, I read this a minute ago, was named after Daniel Paul Schirmer, a German judge with narcissistic paranoid psychosis and possibly schizophrenia, whose autobiographical memoirs of my nervous illness inspired some elements of the film's plot.
Holy shit.
Whoa.
Hurt was actually originally asked to play him.
Right.
And Proyas said that Ben Kingsley was one originally choice.
Oh,
to play
shit.
him.
Whoa.
When Sutherland received the script, he didn't understand why it was sent to him, thinking it was a mistake and they wanted his father.
Oh my god.
Wow.
That's
man.
amazing.
That's
Dude,
super
Ben
interesting.
Kingsley would have been way better than Kiefer Sutherland.
That's
at that
super
point.
interesting. I like his, and I don't disagree with that, but like I like his acting choices too. I like his mannerism is kind of like.
I thought it was awesome seeing Kiefer Sutherland be like this, like nervous, awkward German scientist.
Yeah, his weird
Yeah.
kind of delivery and his like speech cadence. Where
It actually
seems
works
like,
really
which is
well.
his second
He doesn't
language.
have a stutter, but it's almost like he wants to stutter.
Well, it's like English is his second language almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it also adds to the whole like like he clearly is that, but he almost isn't, where everything feels a little off.
Mhm.
Where you're like, he's clearly like the German scientist, but he's also playing in a way that it's not exactly, so it feels a little off.
Yeah.
Then again, there's a chance that he's actually not the original scientist. If the aliens brought up the evolution of this experiment to a certain point, maybe that scientist died and they extracted his memories and they just found this random blonde-haired
Totally possible.
stereotype of a German Nazi scientist and injected him with those memories. It could not even be him.
That's
at
a
this
good point. It could have not even been the original.
Which might be why the experiment could have
It
been
was
failing
originally
to
Vince
begin with.
Kingsley.
Well, if you look
Dude,
at
if they had
where he
cast Ben
inserts
Kingsley,
himself,
they would
when
have
he
had the
inserts himself into
ultimate
the
bald duo between him and Ed Harris.
Okay, good. Go ahead, Chris.
When he inserts himself into the memories, you see how his self-actualized form, which is someone who doesn't have the facial issues, he doesn't have a limp, and he doesn't have so much
You're talking about the part where he's like, "You're doing it, Billy."
His mental image of himself is not the physical self, really. It doesn't have any of his issues or anything. So my original assumption was, since when we see him erasing his memories, he's clearly injured. That these are all injuries he sustained by being tortured by the strangers and his memory. But it could also just be that his mental version of himself is more accurate to whoever he actually was.
No, I would think that's right though, because you see his eyes super fucked up in that scene right before he injects the thing into his head. Like his eyeballs
Well,
really
to make
jacked
someone
up.
do that to themselves, they would have to do a lot.
Right, and he does make it out like it was a big. It's not like they just talked him into it. And
Does
so,
he have a weird thing too, where he's like kind of half squinting? Is that
well, yeah,
Yes, that's what we're
he's got a
talking about.
scar, like a massive scar on his eye.
It's his dueling scar.
Yeah.
Also,
It's his German dueling scar.
the amount of fear that he has every scene the strangers comes on is much the same way of like a puppy that's been hit.
Yeah.
Like he is not running away from them. He is more just like, I'm cautious, I'm paying attention, Dad. Like I'm watching.
Right.
He has experienced some form of a real show of force to have that where he knows they can hurt me.
Well, and he's the only one that's working with them.
Yeah.
And for them in a way that like they couldn't ever understand. Because he even says that when it shows him in the lab, like doing the memory concoction stuff. He's like, you wouldn't even understand this. So like I don't even think they had the ability to like
empathize with
combine those memories in a way that makes sense. Like he explains how
because you would have to be human to understand the chain reaction,
the context. Yeah, exactly.
This.
Yeah. Like they literally need us to the point that it's like it's a weird.
I do think it is alluded to throughout the movie that because they're searching for a soul, but it seems like it's alluded to throughout the movie in different things where it's right in front of them all the time, but they can't see it because they don't understand what it is.
Absolutely, and
and Lazy, that's a great point because if you believe at all, if you at all agree with at least my analysis, which is that a lot of it's about free will and individualism in a world of manipulation. The manipulators of the world we have today are manipulating us in ways that seem soulless, right? And it's like in our reality, I mean, who knows? Maybe there are lizard people, but let's just assume that there are probably human beings. It's more that it's just like there's something inherently wrong about you, and there's also something it's your own blindness, you know what I mean? To your own self. And blindness to oneself is what makes someone soulless, and soulless people commit atrocities. Yeah. And with that, I have to go because the music is starting. But
love you, buddy.
Thanks for coming. It's been so fun. I love all you guys. Thanks for having me on the Movie Club podcast.
Thanks for being here, man.
Oh, and
go
Chance.
to Vinyl Lounge tomorrow. See Anastasia Elliott.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Chance, next time I see you on stage and you're tuning your bass, don't be surprised if I come up to you and I just go, he can tune.
Dude, I fucking love you, man, so much. That's great. That's never gonna not be a thing now. I finally learned how.
So if I can move on with something Lazy was telling us, there's this idea that the human.
Well, did anybody else want to share like their experience?
First time.
Watching,
yeah, right.
Then,
so what was your
keep that in mind though.
Well, I mean, like mine's irrelevant. No, I was essentially this would have been the same time as you. Would have been like 1998 or
you
whatever.
saw it in theaters, right?
Yeah, I saw this in theaters,
awesome,
and like
story.
it was this was in a time period where I was doing a lot of drugs and seeing movies in theaters, but I didn't do that like for this. We just kind of got stoned in the parking lot and went in and watched it.
You saw it with
And-
your dad, right?
Yeah,
You felt,
yeah. And
Let's go with my dad.
it was one of those, well, no, we didn't get stoned together. No, I definitely hit that. But like one of the few like, or one of the last like pleasant movie going experiences I remember with my father. But like, this was the kind of stuff that he was into anyway, and we were both interested in it. And like, it definitely opened me up to, it was probably the first, I had seen Chinatown before this. So I had seen like an actual noir film before, but like between, and I didn't know at the time that the dude that directed The Crow had done this, but like when I was in 8th grade, that came out, and that was like a huge, like formative thing for me as a person. Just, I don't know how to explain it. The soundtrack and everything like that. But yeah, no, and this is the first time I'd seen Rufus Sewell. My dad loved William Hurt, and he knew that he was in this, and that was, I think, like the selling point for him, other than the sci-fi thing. But like, and I didn't know, I knew who Jennifer Connelly was, but didn't realize like, oh my God, that's the girl from The Labyrinth. And I remember like sitting there thinking like, how do I know who that is? Like, what? Who is she?
Those
and then
lounge
finally,
She
Yeah.
like,
vanished for like 10 years
Yeah.
after doing the movie Argento Phenomenon. She did like the Labyrinth Phenomena, and then she just vanished for a while.
Yeah,
and
I
then
don't.
it's like,
I hadn't even thought about her, and then it was like, oh, that's right, I love you.
Those
Um,
lounging, those jazz scenes. Where
Oh
she's
my
singing,
God, they're so good. Yeah, and that music too, like that was something that my dad definitely didn't listen to. He listened to a lot of good music, but that specific style and that, like, just so many elements of it, like, stuck with me in a way that I didn't think they would. And it was like the kind of person that I was anyway. Like I wanted to be goth. I never was exactly, but like whatever that is, but like I love like just that dark atmosphere and stuff. And I really love the idea that it presented at the end, which is like it goes through a lot of different iterations about what's happening and what's happening to him, and it's the identity thing. But at the end, it's like the idea of the soul, and plus like the ending of the film, just the final kind of romantic ending where they walk off the pier. Like I was a sucker at that time, and always am and will be, for like films that resolve in a way where you're like, all right, that's good. Even though it was just insane throughout the whole thing. So I don't know. Yeah, but that was, I did get to see it like at the time when it came out too. So I got really privileged for like this and the person that we did the basket too. So yeah. And you, what was yours?
My dad showed it to me on DVD. I think a lot of dads apparently liked this. There was like a certain generation that was exposing us to this, but my dad he studied film in college, and he was very unpretentious about it, but like I could tell he cannot wait for me to like turn certain ages so he can show me things that would be inappropriate.
Yeah.
So I think he thought, okay, Jennifer Connelly, she loves Labyrinth, that's okay, we'll watch this. And it was actually pretty violent. But every time he'd realize that halfway through a movie, he'd be like, oh shit, it's on now. So she has to get closure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know we watched it on DVD together, and it was like big for him. Like I think also like since I was like into black and white stuff, I really liked like Maltese Falcon, which has been listed as his inspiration for this movie. Which makes a lot of sense if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. And I watched all like Twilight Zone and stuff. So it was like not a crazy concept.
Yeah.
And like my dad and I are both into like aliens and cryptids and that kind of thing. So it already fit. I was like, yeah, this is just reality. We all already live on this little disc world. Like I'm very aware of that. So, but yeah, we'd also watched The Matrix together just before that, and he had the soundtrack, and then later wanted to give me crap about my taste in music when it was all the Matrix soundtrack.
Yeah.
nice dad.
That's a good one.
He's like, why do you make me listen to this terrible music?
So good.
It all came.
Yeah. So good. And then was this your first time?
It is. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the first time I saw it.
Yeah. It's a good one. And like Loney said, it's like an unspoken classic kind of thing. Like where I think you said like it feels like it influenced a lot of things after the fact. And if you hear people like bring it up and you're like,
Big takeaways for me for this movie are concept, huge concept, big experimental, big experimental, huge concept that you're trying to fit into this like format of a movie. So it's like a big philosophical idea, kind of like The Matrix. It's like if you've never thought about this, it's kind of a lot, right? It's like something you're gonna think about for years to come. It's like that. I would say Truman Show and Matrix are the same thing. If you've never considered this,
Right.
it is like now something that like haunts you and makes you paranoid schizophrenic.
I mean,
so like,
Yeah.
like big concept and atmosphere.
Yeah.
Just it like great atmosphere. Yeah, that's my
Like the
takeaways.
vibe and stuff. And man, like you said, the concept is something that sticks with you where, and I guess this goes back to like the first time I saw it. This was one of the first that I remember seeing where like I was thinking about it like days later, like what if this is an experiment, you know, and just that aspect of the story, not to mention like the deeper stuff about the soul and everything, which like really was something I was already kind of like coming to anyway. So
What if there's a third time of day we don't even know about?
you're right, yeah, exactly.
Neither light nor dark.
That's
I
actually
think that
really,
this is where the flat earth theory came from.
that's a whole other thing too.
Wait, it
right?
is flat.
Yeah, it's.
It is flat.
I
Exactly.
started
Yeah.
laughing to myself
Yeah.
watching it the other night when that scene happened,
Uh,
because I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh shit,
oh,
it looked like.
dude, I didn't
it
even
looked
think
like
about
Speak-
flat
that
earth
shit.
shit.
Speaking of that scene where William got hurt,
Yeah.
and you see the thing
Yeah.
in its entirety.
Yeah.
My initial thought, we talked about this when it happened. My initial thought was, those are not stars out there. Those are other dark cities.
Man.
Like,
Oh,
so
yeah, yeah.
my initial
This is
thought,
one petri dish.
this
of-
is one of hundreds of them, right?
Right.
That was my initial thought. I didn't even consider them as stars, right? Just the way it looked, something about the way it looked. And I was expecting that to come up later and it didn't.
yeah.
So I'm kind of thinking now those probably were stars.
Well, but the thing is I've never heard
Big
someone say
source.
that, and after you said it, now I can't stop thinking about it, kind of, because that is like a cosmic horror thing.
Well,
where-
yeah, the idea being is that if that one was there in the middle of the universe, then this species is, another great thing about the film is it makes you forget that these aren't even the humanoid creatures.
Yeah,
right.
They're those little weird looking purple
Squid things.
Yeah.
squid things.
Yeah.
So they need to have something like a host.
Right.
So that also goes back to the entire story could be fabricated, because where did these humans initially come from? And him being the doctor, yada, yada, I mean, how did he know that, how does anybody on that little disc even know where they were originally from? They could have been formed and created and put there, and it's like you're saying, there's nothing saying that there are not a bunch of other ones out there. The only way you know it's space is when he first flies out, you're like, oh, well, this ain't space, but then they get pulled through that field.
You're right. Yeah,
then
and you
you're
see
like,
the edge
okay,
of
yeah,
it.
they're done.
Yeah.
Which I like the way they did that without going into too much explanation. It's like a machine, you know, it's like when you're really pushing that far and you got a story running that good, add a bunch of description on how it's supposed to work. Just makes people want to give a bunch of, well, actually on how it should work. you
That's a
know?
good point, Neve, is we don't even know that they're from Earth. These
Yeah.
could be like, they could have been like created.
They could have been captured in space. We could be a spacefaring
Yeah.
human race at this point,
Right.
and
Right.
they just captured a ship of humans out in space. I want to say I have never heard of this idea that you brought up, and I love it
Right.
for one
I never
specific
thought about
reason.
that shit.
They say that they're a dying species.
Right.
There are only what, maybe 100 of these things, 150, 200 of these aliens that we see in the movie. That's not a dying species. That's a dead species. You are dead. You are extinct. You cannot recover from that. You will always die before you outbreed at that level. A dying species would be like humans at like 2 billion, and then we drop to 100,000. We are dying, but we could still recover. So it actually kind of makes sense that maybe there's like 200 aliens on this petri dish, and there's 200 on that, and they got like 1,000 petri dishes out in space doing all this same experiment.
Yeah.
I've never thought about this before,
Good.
and it's genius.
Good point. If it's just that one, they're not a dying species, they're extinct.
Yeah, they will run out of resources. They will eventually look at them. Like 3 of these aliens die in this one movie before one alien has been bred.
Yeah.
Like they are definitely going extinct, man.
Yeah.
I would say though, an interesting thing about that though is that the thing that seems like is killing their species is that they don't have individuality.
Right.
Yes.
So then it would be kind of hard to say that like, oh, they're running a bunch of different unique experiments.
Oh, because
Because like that's why they're dying, is because they're not doing that.
lack
They're
of
not- okay.
Right,
lack
like,
of variable breeds weakness.
Weren't
right,
they,
like
like-
that's what they're struggling with.
Sorry. Okay, since I watched the movie just once. Like I've forgotten like a little bit of like the chunks or whatever, and I'm bad with words, so bear with me. But like, weren't they like not good with water?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was the
They
thing.
weren't good
That
with
was
water, and like water is like our main source of energy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like
yeah,
every
good point.
experiment that they kept trying to do, there was like always like a very lost cause in it, which I feel like added so much to the.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense, because like humans are
Yeah.
also made mostly of water.
Yeah.
So that'd be like,
So,
we're
like, how
going
are you-
inside of like a body made mostly of water.
Yeah.
That's like a huge desperation move.
Yeah.
And then also to be like,
extremely
okay, we
desperate.
don't even know what's going on with this guy, but let's put our whole consciousness right into him. There's a lot of really desperate gambits happening.
Yeah.
There's like a series of Hail Marys going on.
They are in the brain, correct? Like they are.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
actually.
So
in
it's
the
almost
head.
like this
Yeah.
blood-brain barrier. Like we're not actually touching water in the human body.
Well, they say
it's-
that, yeah, they are
plasma
inhabiting
or-
corpses anyway, so they might not
Oh.
have that. That was one of my least favorite concepts in the whole.
That is
So it's a
scary.
neurological response only. There is actually no human being anymore.
Yeah, it's like
just
putting a
an
creature
octopus
into a
thing, like
zombie,
button-
basically.
button.
Yeah, they're just operating their meat puppets.
Sims.
So
Yeah.
But
Sims.
They inhabit corpses. That is like
Yeah.
very like that gave me the chills too. It's
Yeah.
like these every time you see one of the strangers, that is a dead person.
Including
Yeah.
that horrible little boy.
Yes.
Oh my god, can we talk about the little boy?
We had to get to him eventually.
You,
Yeah.
you
The
said
little
something.
knuckle biter.
You said something when we were watching it when he
Hell
got sucked out
yeah.
into space.
Yeah.
It's like I need confirmation that he's dead.
Yeah, I need to
I
confirm kill
totally
on that
agree.
child.
Totally agree.
Could we also talk about like the spirals and how
Yeah.
like there was like I believe 3 different characters that had different reactions to the spirals.
Yes, there's the
Right.
ex-cop, there's the ex-detective,
Right.
who goes insane.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Um,
the insanity one.
Mhm. Yeah.
We didn't even talk about it.
And his fingerprint, like
Yeah.
the shots of his fingerprints. So like that says to me that like he's like literally physically evolved at this
Yeah.
point. He's had his memories switched around so many fucking times that like he's just the first to
And
develop.
he's
that
starting to
ability.
go like insane, right? But then the other guy, I think he was just like, sorry.
No, get
The other
to the
guy,
point.
he was just seamlessly doing it as like doodles, right?
yeah.
And then I forgot the name, the one that was murdering them and doing it like
Oh.
on purpose.
He
Yeah.
was
like-
talking about the stranger, the serial killer stranger
Yeah.
that was actually doing like around the
But that was
breast.
on
Yeah.
purpose. It was like all a different purpose. Like one went insane, the other one was just doing
Oh, I see what
it
you're
and,
saying.
like, yeah, like
There-
I'm just trying to like.
There's
I think
almost-
that's cool. But
There's
like,
also the
what does
introduction.
that symbolize?
The introduction to the scientist. He has the rat in the maze. The maze itself
Is
is
it just
Yeah.
circle?
Yeah.
It's almost some sort of
Like a-
sacred geometry
Yeah.
idea
Yeah.
that's
A
going on
maze?
here.
It's like the
And
And the
spy.
city
Yeah.
itself was a circle.
Exactly.
too.
I
I
think
saw it.
Well, that's why they keep doing it.
Because
He's
they're
actually
realizing
running
that they're-
experiments to try to
Yeah.
visualize in his head how can I.
It's like
this
despite all my
It
rage, I'm
never
still just a rat in a
stops.
cage.
Yeah,
Raise
yeah.
the rat in the
So
spot.
I've been holding this in for like
That's good.
10 minutes. It was
Alright,
also
well,
based off.
No,
what
yeah.
you said.
I want to go back to
You were talking about the human soul, and a lot of people do not pick up on this. You are correct. The human soul is expressed the entire movie.
Yeah.
We have Murdoch with the goldfish.
Mhm.
We have the police detective, who I believe is playing violin. That's an
It's
expression
accordion.
of
It's accordion.
it's
Yeah.
accordion.
Yeah.
That's an expression of his soul.
Yeah.
And he talks about like I gotta go home to my wife or something. He
It's his
doesn't actually-
mother. He constantly talks about his mother.
But he doesn't
and
actually
it's
have a
like-
mother.
Right.
It's not real. So
Right.
but he plays the accordion because that's his soul. You
Yeah.
have the prostitute with the child. Like the reason she prostitutes herself is to care for her child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The doctor
That's a good
with his
point.
rat in the maze. Also the doctor again with being in the pool,
Yeah.
showing he has fun outside of his job
Yeah.
with the strangers.
Yeah.
This is his idea of
Well,
fun,
and
is
I
when he
always
experiments.
Yeah.
took him going to the pool specifically to
To
be
get
the
away from
only
them.
place that he
Yeah.
could go where he was pretty sure they wouldn't come.
But-
also like
but yeah.
physical therapy too. Like, does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
But no, I mean,
Pretty
that makes
much
that
every-
makes sense too.
Every
especially,
single
yeah.
person in this movie is
Right.
showing
Well,
humanity.
and
the
yeah.
entire
Jennifer
time.
Connelly
True.
too, like with like you can see her remorse at the idea that she was unfaithful. Like
Even though
she
she
never
was never-
comes
yeah.
off as like she was in the right in that situation. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's another like sort of plot point that I like too is that like, you know, She plays that reaction very well.
Yeah.
That you can tell that she's like genuinely remorseful,
Telling you.
and it's like she didn't even do that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But her soul feels bad for
A little bit
Yeah.
more rum, please.
Yeah, you can definitely tell it's
Yeah.
Well, I would
eating
also
at
say-
her.
I was gonna say also to Nick, to your point, what David brought up earlier, of like the guy, like the hotel guy, and then you see him later, and he has like the same line, where there's even subtle aspects where when you see the same character in a different position, they're doing a
Yeah.
different job, but they're the
Mhm.
same person.
right.
Well, he's the guy that says,
And the strangers don't.
we
ever
always
see
keep
that.
our
This
books.
is neat and tidy,
And
yeah.
that's the thing
We
is,
keep a clean ship here or
as
something. I
as
can't
a
remember.
person, this becomes, unless you weren't really paying attention, but on rewatches, it becomes very obvious.
Mhm.
But I think that is an element of the movie that is throughout, is that it becomes more and more obvious that this is in front of you the entire movie.
Yep.
Yeah, like you
But
said,
the strangers can't pick up on it ever.
yeah.
I think
Even
that
their
makes sense,
final
like,
plan.
There's
Right.
also
They
that
could never see it.
microcosm moment where they show that couple who's like a working class couple
Mhm.
and
And
is
then become the
complaining,
rich
and then
class.
they make their house all nice and they make them rich people. And either way, they are like supportive of each other but deeply miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
like that dynamic doesn't have to, like their problems change
Yeah.
Right,
with their economic status, but like who they actually are
Mhm.
doesn't seem to shift in
Yeah.
that moment.
that's a
Oh,
really
yeah.
good point too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just brought up a big topic that I've been waiting for someone to like shoot on to, is the idea of class warfare throughout this movie.
Mm.
Mhm.
I love Dark City because we brought it up. It's a noir movie. However, there's also a light amount of exploitation in this movie. And I don't mean in the 1970s like grindhouse exploitation way, in a literal exploitation
Mm.
where it's MK Ultra. We've compared it to the German Nazi scientists of controlling, and there is so much class warfare. Look at the apartments these people live in. Look at the grime. You can almost feel like you touch a wall, and it's like, it's moist kind of feel to this place.
Yeah.
And they're always evolving and manipulating this class warfare of the people. And it was a little on the nose even. And I hate to say this because what are their names from the Matrix? The Wachowski brothers, sisters, Wachowski?
Wachowski.
Wachowski.
Yeah.
I hate to say this. I think they ripped off Dark City.
Well,
I think
they
it was
ripped off
too
a
close
couple
on
of
the
things.
heels.
Yeah.
I think that it was well
They
written
were
by
they
the
were
time
probably
that
yeah, they were probably written
Okay.
at the same
like
time.
if they were close enough to be sharing set pieces,
Exactly,
they wouldn't have
yeah,
had a
Maybe-
chance to rip
Maybe
it off.
not the
Yeah.
first movie, but then the second and third movie, which they would have been filming sequentially like that, I feel like took a little bit too much. from
That's a
Dark City.
whole other conversation.
Yes,
They
but-
definitely ripped somebody off, but it's a whole other
Dark
person.
City
Yeah.
has so much about classism and the idea of these secret prejudices that are going on. Even the way the police treat him, Murdoch, in the diner and whatnot, gives this feeling of like, man, fuck you, dude.
Well,
I'll
and
go
that-
anywhere I
that
want
goes
to.
Somebody brought up the thing earlier about like this seems like it's a wholly American environment, but like the way that the strangers operate and the way that the police like sort of operate is very secret policey. So it does make you
Maybe
wonder
they
like
programmed them. to
and
be
perhaps
that way.
even like if it's an alien intelligence that comes to Earth and they come to Earth say in like 1940 or some shit, the two dominant cultures would be the German and the American cultures,
Mhm.
like, or the Western.
Or even
I was wondering that
Red
'cause
Scare.
you guys
Sorry.
were bringing up how much like it's a Nazi scientist,
Yeah.
and the way that they behave is very like reminiscent of that.
Uh,
It might be that when they initially made contact with people, that's who they made contact with.
right,
So
right.
they modeled
Oh.
everything after that,
That's fucking interesting.
but then they
man.
continued to gather people throughout the ages, and that's why the city doesn't quite look like that. But they're still
That's
they're
pretty
still
That's their
behaving
own actual
Yeah.
like cultural experience. Though.
Right.
They took things from all
That's-
different ages,
that's
but the only
interesting.
cultural
I didn't-
experience they have was
Right.
like
Yeah,
this either World War II or Red Scare, kind of like us versus
Right.
them
right.
Because it-
mindset.
because there is kind of, at least to me, there is an odd thing about like if the aliens have no attachment to human culture whatsoever, why are that?
This
Where does
culture.
this culture
Yeah,
come
why
from?
this
that they're
culture in
behaving
particular?
Yeah, that they've like put together or whatever.
But here's
Yeah.
the thing, obviously they do have attachments. The way they dress even, because we discussed this earlier, they're just dead bodies.
Right.
Right.
Why, well, we talked about it, the whole
But-
like you can't see me kind of
Been
thing.
dressing
I think
like that.
There's a question of whether they have an actual affinity toward that, or whether they're just trying to emulate it.
Well, that's-
Because they want
Right.
to be people.
And that's what I think it is.
I think they
I
have
think
a
that they
culture.
look at
Sorry.
us as
So it's
like,
like, we're wearing clothes because that's what people do.
Yes,
As
and
opposed to,
we don't want to stand out as not people.
right, like
Right.
their
The soul is in the
desperation very
trenches.
much
That's where the
comes
soul
through.
is.
again,
I-
there's no individuality,
As
so
the crow
they don't
flies.
have their own fashion sense.
Here's the
They're
thing,
all
I
wearing
think
the
they
same
do.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point. I never even thought about it like that. And they are like, their desperation comes through constantly where they're like, we need to be like you. Like we have to understand what makes you human because we know we're dying. And like, you know, the thing that I talk about we look at their abilities as superpowers, their ability to fly, their ability to have telekinesis and make shit with their mind and all that kind of stuff. But they look at our ability to
feel.
empathize and to feel as like
Innovative
as a
almost.
superpower. You know,
Yeah,
what I mean?
creative.
That's a weird thing to think about.
I was gonna say, I do think they have a culture. I think their culture is just one of such utmost pragmatic behavior that once again, they have no innovation. Like they were probably a spacefaring race a millennia ago, and their technology has probably just been like a straight line across since that point.
Yeah, and
Because
as
they lost all
as a hive
creativity.
mind, like it makes sense for them to be psychically powerful. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like if that's what that is, and then you start like trying to think about what that would be like an entity that is like a hive mind, and at the end of the film, like it seems like he destroyed all of them, which you have to do, right?
Yeah.
To like eradicate.
He's gotta
them.
go to war with all those other little.
With all those other
flat
fucking
earths.
stars,
All
man.
the
There's so
petri
many flat
dishes.
earths out there.
He's gotta fight 1970s flat earth. He's gotta fight 1700s flat earth.
Oh my god, the multiverse is real.
Fuck.
There
This
are-
is
there are
kind of
some-
very Dune-ish, actually. Like Murdoch becomes Paul Atreides and then leads some sort
Well,
of like.
and that's the other thing that
That's what
I love
happens
about the
next,
ending, and I brought up like when we all watched it was like at the end of it, like he essentially is the god of that world. Like none of the other people are going to necessarily evolve like except of their own accord because no one's going to have their memories switched out anymore. But because they've had it happen so many times, maybe others will at some point. But right now he's the only one, right? But he seems to be like a decent guy in his soul, you know what I mean? So, and he also seems weirdly content to not want to pursue the power that he has.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
He
Like,
just- he
he's
just wants
so
to be-
happy to find her.
He just wants to be at the beach.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
the
And
girlfriend.
if he
Just
hadn't found
nothing
her,
else.
and she says earlier, like you brought up the scene in the police station where he breaks the glass, and like I think that's one of the most like awesomely like romantic kiss scenes of all time because it's like
No,
You
yes,
know?
yes, exactly. Yeah, I think I talked about that too. That
Yeah.
was like
Oh,
yeah,
is it-
I'll never
is
get
it-
over that.
yeah, it's so good.
It was so romantic.
Is it like the infinite power for such a mundane, like human expression of just love and?
It was so unreal, but like so real.
Yeah,
At
well,
the same
you've
time.
seen so many scenes, like every scene in a prison is like that, whether it's a father or a daughter or whatever,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And there's
But it's
always
like
that
what
glass.
you
There's
would
glass
want.
between
It's
us.
like what you exactly what you
Yeah,
want.
exactly.
And they gave it to us.
Yeah, right.
That was nice.
Like you wish that the glass wasn't there. You
It's a
wish
nice
that.
like manifestation of will.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And he could, and then it, like you said, it speaks to, and you were kind of saying it too. It's like he uses his power not to break out of there, not to bust the wall out and escape, but just for that, you know, just to show her that, like, you know, yes, we are meant to be together, or whatever. And
Once
then they
again,
find
an
each other
act
at
of
the
the human
end.
soul that we were talking about is
Right.
always shown throughout the
And
movie.
you brought up like, you know, maybe
that's
they
what's
were
important.
together.
The prison is
before
really important.
that.
Oh,
know?
yeah, like they could have spent several different iterations together at
Mhm.
this point. Like when they talk about kind of, oh, but they're like he was saying, like, well, maybe that means they were always connected.
Mm.
But I would assume this is probably not their first go round as
Right.
far as the memory implanting goes. Everybody's probably been matched up a few times at
Right.
this point. So some of that could also be residual. There's like a lot that could play into that.
Yeah.
I respect them for pursuing it. Great on that.
Yeah, and
So
the
do
romance.
you think the aliens have like a schedule of like, well, on this year we switch people, but on this year we keep the same couples together, but we switch
Yeah.
their style.
Yeah, it seems like they're very much approaching it in a super systematic way.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem random at all.
Not too much changing at one
Right.
point, like one little
They
change.
leave people together for a while to see how that rolls out and works out, and then
I'm going to assume also that a lot of the aliens just are pure catalogs. We talk about them being a hive mind. There's what is his name? Mr. Book
right.
and Mr. Hand.
And the names probably do have significance.
Yes.
Mr. Hand is the action. He's the
And
one who
Mr.
goes
Book
out
is the
and
one
does
who's the
shit.
leader.
Right.
Mr.
Yeah.
Hands.
Yeah.
Mr. Hands.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
just
do
Hand.
y'all know it? Well, Mr. Hands is different.
Oh.
No, I
About
don't know
Mr.
this.
Hands.
I don't know about Mr. Hands.
It's
That's
what you know about it. It's in your brain somewhere.
so
It probably erased it on purpose.
I hate to
Derail.
destroy, well, no, not that, destroy the innocence of anyone watching this, but Mr. Hands was the guy that got fucked to death by a horse.
Oh.
So back in like,
It is in my
I don't
brain.
know, 2000.
So he was still an action guy, man.
So every time that Mr. Hand came up in the
You're
movie,
just like,
me and Lazy could not stop fucking laughing about it. Because he's the one that eventually, like, Jesus, like, makes the sacrifice. It's like, yeah, just like Mr. Hands. For science, he got fucked to death by a horse.
Oh,
my
Lord.
We
God.
found
That's
out
terrible.
that if you get fucked by a horse, you die.
That's not an act of science, that's an act of the human soul.
That's
Oh
an
my
expression
God.
of pure human
What did
soul.
Jeff say? Like, why did we blow up? Why did we blow up the
Eternal
world?
sunshine as well as mine.
So yeah, I do think that a lot of the aliens though, they probably have the most mundane jobs where it's just a dude who's just staring and he's just like processing all these different lives and the information that they come from it.
Mhm.
And that's all he does all day.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say like 99% of the aliens are just
like catalogs, like
Death
like
bitches.
card catalogs. Yeah,
honestly, I hate to say it
Someone
that
has
way.
to plan it.
Yeah.
Someone
I mean,
does have
like,
to plan it.
if the leg guys they're sending out to do their dirty work includes like that little weird 10-year-old,
Mm.
then like they gotta be putting their best and brightest like at a desk somewhere.
And I think they called him Mr. Quick. Because
Mr.
remember the
Mr.
guy he
Quick's
goes,
dead.
yeah, no more,
No
he
more
goes,
Mr. Quick.
poor Mr. Quick. And it's that same guy later on that says something about, because they have obviously tried to inject human memories into themselves
And he's
before.
like, this
He
is
says, remember the last
dangerous."
time we did this and it failed? And then the same guy goes, poor Mr. whatever it was, that they had tried that before.
I have two theories.
Yeah.
First theory is just something that randomly came up, so it's not as concrete as the other one.
Yeah.
I think the fact that he was in a bathtub when he was being injected might have had an
Because of the
effect.
water.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair.
the
Yeah.
It
water.
wasn't water, it was clearly strawberry milk.
Well, I wonder if that's like bath salts maybe or
That was
something.
Nesquik.
but,
No,
like-
just
I
just
do
the
this
water.
lavender.
That
No,
was
just the
strawberry
water, just the
Nesquik.
water
Wasn't
and
it
very dirty.
purple?
And then he
Yeah.
has an
It's just
obsession
purple.
with the
That's
beach.
purple.
That's really interesting. And also they're
Oh,
aversion to
sleeping?
water and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But also like there's a thing about like just in general, water being like a transitory medium. Like that's what they say is able to like, you know, possibly cause like wormholes.
That's the thing
and
with
shit.
zombies and
Yeah.
ghasts and ghouls is they can't cross water.
Yeah,
It's
like
like a-
that's
Or
yeah.
like demons, like that's a folklore
It's a
thing.
barrier like medium.
Rivers, any body of water, like
Right.
ghosts and ghouls can't cross.
David, you had a second thing?
What was the second theory?
Okay, the second theory is it does work. Injecting memories into one of them
Uh-huh.
actually does work.
Okay.
They just don't know how to test for it because they don't know what they're looking for. I do
Okay.
think at the very end, Mr. Hand becomes like something separate from them.
Okay.
And that when they applied it to the other people, it worked,
Uh-huh.
but because it wasn't what they wanted, because humans are
So it's
irrational and
Like it doesn't work because it turns them human, so it's no longer them.
Yeah,
They're
That's
trying to save
interesting.
themselves.
but they don't even know. They don't know. Okay, they think, oh, when we do this, this person that is one of us becomes irrational.
Uh-huh.
It's because they're human now. They're-
Right. That's really
Mm.
interesting, man. Yeah, and that actually makes a lot of sense too, because like,
He's their Agent Smith.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he does become like another species, something separate
Yeah.
completely from them, and they can't even recognize.
They can't even
like, the
recognize
change
it.
that's happened, like how to process it, so they don't know how to apply it to themselves. Because if you would do that, each individual would become an individual, and they don't even understand it.
Yeah, they don't even understand it. So they don't even
Huh.
know. They wouldn't even know how to catalog it or how to. Like,
Yeah, I never thought
So
about
the
it like
experiment
that.
never could have succeeded.
It could, right, and that goes back to kind of what you
Yeah.
said too. It's
It's
like,
it's just right in front of them the entire time.
Yeah.
They could never really.
wow, man, I never even thought about it like that.
Some more layers to
Like it would have
explore.
ultimately.
in order
been
for
a
them
good-
to understand humanity, they would have to become it. And
But,
that's
they're scared of doing
Which
that.
would have caused the extinction of their species,
Right,
which is
because
something
they
they
would
were
have
trying to
become
prevent the
human.
entire time. Yeah. Huh. Wow, man.
It is. I really like
It's a
that about
spiral.
you pointed that out when we watched it. I
They're
never-
spiraling, they're circling the drain.
Yeah, you pointed that out when we watched it. That like, as advanced as they seem, they
Mhm.
need us.
Yeah, yeah, and like they seem
Parasite.
very desperate
Yeah.
about that fact.
Parasites.
And that's
I
the
was
only thing
wondering-
that makes me think like it's not a bunch of different colonies.
I was
out there, but
wondering-
That's still a super interesting idea.
And Chance, because I hadn't seen this movie until recently
Yeah.
either. I was wondering about, you always see them as like inhabiting the person's brain.
Hmm.
Do these aliens only exist in a parasitic man?
Yeah, we don't ever see them
Right,
in another
outside,
form.
exactly.
We
Yeah, we-
assume that if the body of the human dies, that they die, because we do see some of them individually die, but some of them we just see the human body die.
Right,
And when we do see one outside of its body, it immediately dies.
right, yeah.
So we don't even
Without the
know.
host, it immediately, like when it crawls out of that guy's head,
It's kind of like,
it dies.
can
right?
they,
It just feels
Yeah.
like one of
Right,
the
yeah.
questions the movie
Yeah.
didn't care to answer.
And do
It's
they
like,
know?
figure it out.
Do they really know that they're a parasite?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, would it
'Cause
bother
also-
them?
Yeah.
There's
Do
a-
parasites know that they're parasites?
Because there's also a weird thing
That's
about they struggle with individuality, but they clearly do have some amount of individuality.
There's some
Uh-huh.
variation.
Because they have
Yeah.
names,
They have
Right.
different names.
they have
yeah.
their leader.
Right.
But how
right.
much of that has come from just
Yeah.
inhabiting human
But-
corpses?
Right,
But-
right.
but
right.
studying-
Already rubbed off.
But also like
But-
like mimicking.
Uh-huh,
Yeah. Well,
right,
that's
like
mimicking,
they're
mimicking.
trying as hard as they can, but they're,
Yeah.
There's one line fairly early on that to me, I'm still kind of confused about how this works, is he talks about tuning.
hmm,
And he talks about like, there's no way he could know that, how many of their lifetimes it would take to
Right.
learn to do that.
right, right.
But only one of them seems to be able to like fully do that.
Oh, you mean Mr. Book?
Right.
But-
So it becomes like, what is their individuality or not?
Uh-huh.
And like, of the parasites, are there ones that are older that are better at like what is their actual?
Possibly, that makes sense, but you do see them all fly, like you see them exhibit certain of those traits or
Right.
whatever, but yeah, you're right, like he's definitely the most powerful, so,
But he mentions that it takes time to learn.
right, their abilities, yeah.
So it's not like they don't all have the exact same level of.
That's really
in
interesting.
their-
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, that's a question to think about. Like, there's stuff that you guys have brought up that I never even would have thought about.
That's what's so cool about doing this, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's a bunch of people with different perspectives on the same.
And knowing people's like first impressions of it, where it's like I got to see this for the first time as an adult who's consumed other media and knows what I'm looking at versus seeing it the first time when you're like 12. So you're like,
Yeah.
sure, I guess that's reality. It makes as much sense as anything else.
Yeah.
And just like letting it be ingrained in you. Like it's fun to get people's immediate takes that also
Yeah.
haven't been warped by the last like 20 years of thinking about it.
I literally took it as, and bear with me because I'm not very good at articulating.
Your
things,
mom
but,
took
like,
Tylenol, we know.
yeah, and I grew up with them, so. I just took it as like a repression of like intense trauma. That's why a lot of their memories were like misplaced. So I felt
Okay.
that was like symbolic, and like the spiders were kind of like symbolic of like that like deciding to like when you like disassociate and deciding like what's like kind of real and what's not, and how you take trauma and you repress it, or you decide that it's like a part of you, not a part of you, kind of like that. But I also saw it as like very matrixy, like you are one, like the whole reason that guy had power was it was his reality. We were watching his reality, his mindset
Okay.
reflected, if that makes sense. Like, you know how like you can like I guess like if you have certain like viewpoints or whatever, you're more likely to see that perspective more than anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
that makes
So
sense.
like his whole battle was like with himself,
That makes-
and like at the end he decided to choose like the way out in a way, like
That-
love. I don't know
that-
if that makes any sense, but
that-
that's how I felt
That
about
does
it.
make sense to me, because I think that there is also an element of all the people who are going along with their role.
Yeah, them going to
They're-
sleep.
That's not
and being
like that's something that's put on them, as
Yeah.
opposed to them challenging their own reality.
yeah.
that's why
And
he
at the
keeps
same time,
pushing
like, you
on
kind
it.
of wonder though, like, you know, they intentionally traumatize him as well. They would try to make him think he's a murderer. And some people, they're just making them think they're rich or poor.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, how often are they framing someone against themselves for
Well,
murder?
Him,
It's like-
Sam, and what's her name? The chick. the singer chick.
Jennifer Connelly?
Yeah,
I always
they
forget.
traumatize her too. They make her think she's done something.
It's actually.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
make
just
her
call
think
her
she's
that.
committed infidelity, and then that she's married to a
herself.
guy who's killing
So they-
women
she
now
went
just
nuts.
after her infidelity.
They single out those two,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, but they
Like, how
single
much
them
should they
out
do
because
that?
they know that like I don't know, there's like a he has feelings for her and like he has this weird probably negative viewpoint mechanism that's like oh like I don't know, something is keeping us apart. He believes that something is keeping them apart, which is why there keeps things keep
This,
keeping them apart.
this
Oh,
goes
yeah.
into what
Yeah.
Perhaps
you were
So
saying
he's
earlier.
manifesting that,
Yes.
like, and they can like, because they're already like such a powerful psychic entity in
Yes.
and of themselves.
because we all have
Mm.
parasites in our lives. We all have
Toxoplasmosis.
parasites.
I just meant on our bodies.
No, like we all have something that's like taking our energy or like something we're giving our energy.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
like that's why I viewed it that way because they are, I don't know, everything is
Okay.
a one.
That's really
Yeah.
interesting
Everything's
too,
one.
though, because the whole energy vampires thing. and
Yeah.
That's something that I didn't even think
And then
about
as soon
too.
as he decides it's over,
Yeah,
it's over.
Yeah.
It's his world.
I didn't even think about the social commentary aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
a good.
He was
that's a
like,
good
no,
point.
I want to be on the beach with my lover.
I was saying,
Yeah.
And the only thing
Chris
that's preventing
said
you is
this,
just do it.
Chris,
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Deciding.
said this earlier,
Go to
and you
fucking
were like,
beach,
this is
dude.
not their first
Okay.
rodeo.
Yeah.
This could have been a multi-decade
it's
experiment.
many
Just
years.
these
It
two,
could
yes,
have
they
been-
change everything else, but these two in
Oh.
particular were a multi-decade experiment where maybe the strangers had made these two fall in love, like literally fall in
Yeah.
love as children, grow to teenage, have a natural blossoming love. They actually do love each other, and then experiment on how we can fuck them over by making her believe she cheated, making him believe
Yeah.
that he's a serial killer, and the
Yeah.
actual, once again, the idea of the human soul being right in front of their face is that no, we actually do care about each other, even if we can't express it.
That would
really.
make sense if they were like, okay, one of the paths that maybe we're tracing on the human soul thing is them being in love with someone else.
And another
So
person
if
has
they
a
were
different
just a
path,
long-term being in love experiment,
Yes.
where it's like, will he forgive her for cheating? Will she forgive him for mutilating sex workers?
But
What
he-
is
the
but
natural
he
life
didn't do
side,
that,
though.
though.
But she did. She was like instantly like, I believe
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit a
Yeah.
cop
You know what? To
over
be
you.
fair, I cheated on you. You could have done anything.
Oh my god.
I can fix him.
I did this to us.
Oh my
This
god,
is
that's a
my
really
fault.
good point. She just immediately believed him.
She forgave him
Wait.
instantly.
Wait.
If anyone has a human soul in it, it's her.
Raven, would you forgive me if I started murdering prostitutes?
If you cheated
$1
first.
million
That's
question.
fine.
Yeah.
You cheated on him, then.
How many sex workers can he kill?
How many?
What's the
You
number?
have
As
to put
many as he
spirals
wants,
on all of them.
All spirals.
Yeah,
all of
yeah.
them.
I should never be recorded.
This is
Not
the
at all.
danger.
You heard it here, folks.
This is, I mean, this is the biggest shit show podcast there is. This is not content.
It's chaos. It's chaos.
No, I mean, why the fuck would you watch?
Hey,
this?
we're coming at you from the dark city.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
Raven's
this,
in
this,
love.
this
This
is
is
the real
the Dark City
Yeah.
podcast.
gang.
I do,
From the dark room.
Fuck.
I do think there is a bit of a question though, because as was mentioned earlier, it's actually not that big of a city once you find out.
Yeah,
And there's sort of this,
like the subway goes in a loop,
so
that's all
even,
it does.
so even though people's memories are being changed around and stuff, it's kind of alluded to that everyone does know each other in
Yeah.
different lives.
Yeah.
So you end up with this thing where it's like, he might be like, oh, well, we weren't married in our previous lives. Like this is a fabrication, but they probably have met each other.
Yeah.
And
Wait,
like,
that's-
like
that's why- that's why it's
everyone in the
nice.
city probably has.
Oh, yeah.
Does
Like
this
just
ring a
you
bell?
mean in their individual,
Yeah,
like moving
right,
about and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah. And so like even
Like-
William Hurt, like he's familiar with them. Like he's
Yeah.
seen them before.
So
kind of thing.
there's the idea of synchronicity and deja vu. How often would you go through life walking through Nashville, for instance, before you're finally like, I know that dude. I know
Right.
that dude.
Right.
I know
Yeah.
that dude and this
Right.
chick. Like, what is happening
Right.
here?
Yeah.
How far would you actually go before you're finally like, I'm being gang stalked? Like, this is gang stalking by definition.
Yeah.
Walking in Memphis.
Lazy. That's why it's only nighttime.
Yeah.
When you only have one night cycle, so during the night there's less people out. So you could pretend that the city actually has
Exactly,
one.
yeah.
I would say,
Yeah.
I've never thought about
Interesting.
this.
Yeah.
Is it actually implied that it is the same night, or do they put new memories in them where it's like, this is a different night? Is it literally like June 8th and it's June 8th for the last 80 years?
I think that's the part that makes it kind of silly is that you see them implant memory. You see the process in the barbershop or that family,
Yeah.
that couple, where they like change their memories around. And what I got from it is they do that every night, which is the part
yeah.
that makes that kind of like,
But they
really
don't do
cheesy.
it, they don't
It's
do
like,
it
are
to
they doing-
everyone.
okay,
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah,
get,
'cause you
okay,
see
okay.
like all those
Yeah.
people in traffic, there's like hundreds.
Yeah, they
of
don't do
people
it to
in
everyone,
traffic.
though.
For 200
It's a
aliens
very
to do that.
systematic
We're probably
process.
in traffic forever.
Yeah,
Just
that's
seeing
why-
that
Does no one fall asleep with their foot on the gas?
That's why the
They
detectives.
have like a
It's-
disabling
yeah, it seems
element.
like- it
of
seems
the
like
city.
Oh,
the
the cars
technology
stopped.
They
yeah,
all
it's like an
slowly come
EMP
to a
thing,
stop.
yeah.
Something I also kind of wonder,
Hmm.
you see everybody like they wake up pretty slowly.
Yeah.
So do they not like, does somebody not see someone?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they do mention the fact that some of them do, like, that's why the detective went insane, like,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
woke up during,
And
he didn't wake
noticed.
up during his own injection, he woke up during just the night in the process and realized
and
what was
realize time
happening.
had stopped.
Right, exactly, so like, I think it does happen, it's just he's the first one that it happened to mid, like,
Once again,
memory.
I think this alludes to the fact that they are an extinct species. At one point, I think they had the numbers to make this experiment work on this particular petri dish.
Yeah,
Maybe there were 500 of them, and that was the perfect number of humans for them to
but do
keep
they
this
even
up.
have a number if it's a collective unconscious? If it's like a
They,
hive mind.
they are not a true hive
They're
mind, though. They do have
numbers.
actual, like, somewhat individual desires.
But is that only because they've been in contact with humanity for so
Okay,
long?
okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they call themselves these weird ass names because they think that we name ourselves at random, but they're just named after random shit,
That's a
right?
good point because
They're also
even
named after random.
even
shit.
name, like the name, hand, foot,
Right,
nose,
all
ear,
words
those
are-
are
Okay.
human concepts.
Counter
Right.
argument,
Those are
though.
human
Yeah,
ideas.
they don't have hands.
They don't have hands and feet.
Right.
Counter argument, though, when the one is like, Mr. Quick dead.
Uh-huh.
If they were a true hive mind, every single one of them would already know Mr.
No,
Quick
they're
is
definitely
dead.
not a hive mind, but are they not a hive mind, to Chance's point, because they're in human bodies now?
It's more
Exactly,
like
because they're all separated now,
Like a-
that's why they're acting that
or
way.
I feel it's almost like the internet. They can connect into the hive mind at any point and be like, dial up, like, I'm connected. I'm talking to Mr. Hand.
Yeah,
And now I'm talking to Mr. Book, and then I disconnect. I
Yeah.
choose to.
Yeah.
Because when they do the tuning and they bring out the machine, they all actually like
right, and it's like they're
hyper focus on
focusing
it.
there, yeah.
And that's them actually becoming one
Right,
consciousness
right,
at that moment.
right, and then they split it back apart.
Almost like a
you know?
pheromone ant queen thing, where it's
Right.
like, this is the moment for us to be one unit.
Right,
I mean, we're speculating so much. I kind of understand what you mean, that by trying to become human and actually becoming into the human, they have disconnected from their natural state.
right, exactly.
And they might have been some weird squid fish creature in an ocean where they were a true hive mind. at
Right.
one
No,
point.
go back to that. An octopus.
Yeah, the octopus.
Mhm.
An octopus has a main brain, and then each tentacle has its own brain,
Right,
but they're still connected to the main brain.
right, right.
Okay, so wait, so if an octopus reaches to grab something, just hypothetically, the main brain says, hand reach out, and then the hand says, grab this.
But sometimes, if they're not fully focused, each arm will be doing its own
Which
thing.
is why they're always
fucking
doing that stuff
so
where it's, okay.
So that goes back to that focusing. When they need to focus, they can all work together. But sometimes they're not fully focused.
Starfish, which have no way.
True.
Oh,
Me.
okay, now that you brought that up.
But to become an individual,
we
you're
were
splitting
talking
yourself
about
into
hive
octopus.
minds earlier and how this is a dying species. Snails reproduce asexually,
Uh-huh.
or at least some snails. I don't know if that's true of all snails. So if one gets a disease, it wipes out the entire population.
So,
Which is like, that's a really cool thing about people, is we're genetically different.
Uh-huh.
Like every person is individual.
if
So
I,
it's like, it keeps us from getting wiped out by a disease, right?
Collectively, yeah, that's.
if
Yeah.
you use the slug snail argument, so a slug can have reproductive sex and share its gene with its partner. And a slug can also have asexual reproduction, and it can do that for like 3 or 4 generations, but it can't do it indefinitely.
Interesting.
Eventually, it has to restabilize the cellular
Right,
structure
right.
of the genome.
Genetic
That makes
differences are
That's
a like, that's like a natural selection, like that's a survival mechanism.
Right.
Difference means that if something, an illness or some kind of, even like an external, like natural effect may not affect everyone the same way.
Mm.
It's like that's a survival of the species kind of thing.
Well-
And the problem with being a hive mind is that if one thing affects one of them, it affects all of them.
Right.
The funny thing about that though is that the reason that certain species evolved to have genetic differences and be more distinct is because of parasites.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, it's literally
That goes back to what you were saying.
Oh, and they're a parasite.
Exactly, it's a survival
Yeah.
mechanism against parasites.
So
Oh,
Murdoch,
wow.
I mean, that is a big thing that Murdoch is an evolved being because he's the natural.
So they're necessary for us to evolve, maybe even, or like.
I mean, you could kind of put it that
They
way.
keep
but
us
yeah.
on that path.
Like
yeah.
the reason that we are distinct and have a soul is as a protection against something like that.
So without parasites,
Oh.
without parasites,
like
we
that's-
don't have as
that's
much
really
genetic
good.
difference.
And it
That's
goes
an
back to, like,
interesting-
I mean,
superpower
that's just flat out
thing.
true.
Yeah,
O
that's
positive,
really-
A
that's cool,
positive,
dude. I never
B
thought
positive,
like that, so
only
they're trying to figure out,
exist
like, how the
because
fuck are
of
you
different
evading?
types of
Yeah.
virus. Originally, we were all A positive, if I remember correctly, and that protected us from bacteria. Then A-B mixtures came together to protect us against bacteria and fungi, if I remember correctly. And eventually O positive was because we were traveling so much between different tribes, we were starting to pass viral loads to each other in heavy numbers, moving from city to city.
Yeah.
So eventually O positive came about, and O positive is the most resistant to all of them. When I say that, I mean, it's not the most resistant to bacteria, but it's the most resistant to all 3 at the same time, even if it's at a lower level.
I got your viral load right here.
Yeah, thank you. That pause load,
And then O negative came around, Peter Steele just,
and then we became monkey.
ruled
Man.
the underworld.
Thank
So-
you guys for inviting me to the speculative biology.
Yeah.
We're figuring it all out. This is where we figure out all of the tough questions.
Dark City leaves too many open ends. That's the problem.
I mean, it's a great
It on purpose.
It's a great movie for conversation.
Mhm.
It's a great
Because anything
movie for
can be
this.
So-
going on.
While I was outside smoking, did you guys bring up the fact that Mr. Hand revels in his violence?
I hadn't yet, but I that was something that, like, especially this last time we watched it, it really hit home to me, was that the second that he gets the full imprint of what they were trying to do to John Murdoch, they were trying to create a serial killer, they were trying to create a monster, and he does immediately, like, he knows where to go, he follows the trail, but you can see how much he does, like, clearly
He revels in
enjoy it, you know what I mean? And I don't know if that's the programming of the memory that takes to him, or if that's his individual, like,
See,
he's
that's why
already been
I
out
don't
there
think
acting.
they're actually a collective like that. I
Yeah.
think they actually do have secret little squid hearts and
Uh-huh.
desires.
Yeah.
My favorite
And that
scene.
speaks to that, totally.
My favorite scene is when they're on the waterfront and he
Squishy
was like,
voice.
"I met my
That
wife
is,
here,"
it's so
and
good.
you think he's going to kill her,
Yeah.
and then he's just like, "Good
Yeah.
day," and he leaves, and it's such a cat and mouse game where he's like, he loved that.
Right,
He loved the idea that I could kill her right,
Right.
now if I wanted.
He
I could
also
take
comes
her.
from a species that is totally okay with trapping another sentient species
Yes.
yeah, it's not like he
Animal
has any morality
experiment
to begin with.
and
exactly.
mutilating
Yeah.
them and
I
trying
do
to
love
each
that
other
scene
and,
so
like,
much, though. That's so good.
I think his species is already primed to where, like, yeah, if they had those memories, they would do that.
Well,
for
you bring
sure.
up a good point there because we talked about how the doctor's afraid of him. The doctor did not even need to be tortured. The doctor has been there for the experiments. There is a good chance that at any point, Mr. Book just took a human being and was like,
Oh,
and
I'm
like-
sure, yeah,
and
absolutely.
he has watched that in
Yeah,
real
yeah.
time, and he knows just how not savage, but the lack of savagery,
Yeah.
just the lack of emotion that I just be like, Brady.
Well, and when he tells that story, when he talks to him in the boat, and he tells him all that stuff about when he had to delete his memories, like, that seems like the only thing he does actually remember. Like yeah,
fear.
exactly. Like, that doesn't seem like it's a front when you see that flashback. Like,
But
that
here's the
seems
thing,
like
what a
his
what a-
only memory, really.
Would a mercilessly,
Merciless.
thank you. Would a species that has no feeling actually want to revel in pain at all? Why does it have to be so like,
Well, it's
I'm
not
going
pain
to,
of them.
I'm gonna hurt you? Why wouldn't it just be like, shut your brain off for a second, like shut up, like
Right.
I'm done with you for a
Right, and
moment.
it's like, oh, that feels.
Wait, but that's what they would normally do.
Right.
Except for the fact that when he picks the doctor up and he like body slams him with psychic
Well,
powers.
they found out that physical pain is a motivating factor for
Oh,
the
so
doctor.
they're once again
So they
treating him
already
like
beat the crap out of him
rats.
to make him do it the
Yeah.
first way. So yeah, they're like,
So-
if we throw this guy, he'll do what we say.
Yeah, which someone else mentioned they probably did it before. That's why he's like crippled.
Yeah, he's so messed up at this point.
Yeah, because this probably isn't the first time he's had rebellious thoughts. He might have had them before.
Well, and I kind of wonder also because he does seem to have holes in his mind and his memory. He's the one who's in charge of all these memories. Like, how much is he just consciously deleting off of himself because it's just
Oh, to sabotage them,
horrible? Well,
potentially.
and because it's horrible.
Mhm.
Like the stuff they're having him do to other human beings is atrocious.
Once again, going
And
back
he
to
obviously
Nazi
hates
scientist
it.
kind of ideas. Of,
Yeah, and if like an experiment doesn't work, but it was horrible for him, he could just delete that.
But that once again is sabotaging the experiment to begin with, because how much of those memories, no matter how horrible, was he actually deleting valuable information that could have ended this whole experiment? Maybe cycles ago, for all we know. So if you had one of the tuning powers, what would be your favorite tuning power?
Sleep.
Sleep.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, what I thought during the
I'll be
movie,
back.
like, can you do it yourself? You're like, I just need to get some sleep real quick.
I actually think that's a pretty cool power.
I don't know, it'd be cool to like just have that ability they have to gaslight people. Just be like, that building wasn't even there. What are you talking about? It's crazy.
I do think just being able to be like, we're gonna do Rhetoric Rabbit Hole next week, and I come by and this is a clock tower all of a sudden would be the ultimate form of gaslighting, because most gaslighting is very subtle, done over years or months, even conversations. But just to come to Rhetoric Rabbit Hole and we're doing this in a clock tower would be the ultimate, like, this was not a clock tower last time.
What are you talking
Oh
about?
yeah, I would
Those,
change
right?
roads.
Exactly, I would think I'm lost. And
I
I
could
mean,
make people just fall asleep in their soup and make their house bigger or smaller. That'd be hilarious to me.
That's a good power.
Like, it's the exact same house, it's just like 10% smaller.
Every
It's like, what
day,
happened?
just slightly change the
There's like-
sides
what?
or just shift a tiny bit.
That's like House of Leaves.
I wanna take someone, yes,
Yes.
I wanna take someone that bush.
It's crazy.
We gotta do it. Why haven't we done House of Leaves for book club?
I don't know.
Oh, because it's too long, that's
And
why.
it's insane.
It's insanely long, we can't.
And it's very visual too.
Yeah.
It'd be like, well, there's
Weirdest
this one
book.
sentence up above this other sentence.
Right, yeah,
that, like,
exactly. There's a
really-
whole page
Yeah.
where there's like a box and nothing else. Yeah.
So if I could gaslight someone in the ultimate way, you know how you have your, like, your privacy hedges so that a certain amount of light doesn't come into your bedroom or your bathroom or something. You wake up every day, you slept on your right side, you wake up and you can see the sun and you know what time of day it is, right?
Yeah.
And then I just 1 inch every day move your privacy hedge over until it's like full sunshine at all times coming through the window. Just for you to wake up and be like, oh, I guess I gotta get up today, man. The sun's already out. Like,
That's a good way to make someone go insane.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think we can disprove the human soul.
Soundtrack was good.
Yeah, I love the score. I like the fact that, you know, there's certain films that work really well when they don't use popular music at all. They don't have needle drops and shit like that. And like, I mean, and
Well, there was no music at all for
yeah,
a good
yeah,
minute.
yeah.
For like 20 minutes probably.
yeah.
I don't remember the soundtrack at all. I remember everything about this movie, but other than Jennifer
I'm
Connelly
It's
pretty
doing
very
the whole like,
dramatic.
It's very dramatic.
It's
I'm pretty
really
sure the
atmospheric.
first song is Jennifer Connelly, I think.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
literally the face.
Other than
of
that,
her and-
there's
I don't know,
some
every other
soundscapey
scene
shit.
is, yeah, like this crazy, like,
Yeah.
like shit is happening.
It's very like weirdly
A
Hans
lot.
Zimmer for not for
Mhm.
pre Hans Zimmer. Like I don't even know who did the music for this, so we should probably look that up. But like it's real bombastic and it has a main theme. It has that dun 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 dun.
I
Like
looked it up a minute ago, I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But I've seen his name and other stuff. The one thing I did note is other than those two songs, he outro credited Echo and
see that tracks.
Oh, yeah.
And we
that's
didn't
why I
watch
like
the
it.
whole ending credits, which
So,
we probably should do.
I don't know if we've talked any crap about the movie. I want to go. I like to when I'm in a
Oh,
conversation.
yeah,
I like to go
yeah,
negative
yeah,
a little
absolutely.
bit.
Good point.
This is the perfect amount of CGI. Just was not there yet.
Oh, dude,
I
yeah.
love that schlock,
Absolutely.
man.
Absolutely.
The
yeah,
CGI was bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
The acting and like Dialogue, not great.
It's like Kiefer Sutherland was out to digest as much of that
So-
scenery as he could possibly get his mouth.
I must say,
around.
who's the black-haired dude that was in A Knight's Tale? He's the main character.
Rufus Sewell.
Yeah.
So every movie he's ever been in, he's in this amazing movie called Downloading Nancy about a girl who in an online chat room asked another man to kill her because she wants to commit suicide. Wonderful movie, but his acting sucks in every movie he's ever been in. He's not a good actor, but they tried to make him into one. They kept putting him in this movie, A Knight's Tale, all of these other like
Did they
high-end
make
movies.
I must
Did they
debate
make
his
him a better
acting. I
actor?
like
No,
his acting.
the problem
I
is
think he
he's
has
super-
a certain style. I
He's
think that
handsome. He's got that dark, like kind of
he
curly
plays
European
an
hair.
antagonist better than he plays
Yes.
a leading man.
Okay.
He's in The Man in the High Castle, which I think he's really good in.
Maybe these are just not really
That's the alt history
antagonists.
Yeah, it's a Philip K. Dick story, but like I don't disagree with you. I think there's some there's choices that are made in this film. Like he's particularly bug-eyed, he's particularly like just manic, and I think that's the way that like kind of almost even like sweaty and creepy in a way. Yeah, I mean I don't disagree with any of that really, especially with the CGI thing.
What is that
His
joke
acting
that,
is kind of an acquired taste.
I was
Like,
say, what is that joke that Keanu Reeves is always playing the same character in
yeah,
every movie?
and Rufus Sewell definitely. It's kind of like he can
And
only-
coincidentally, these movies come out within a year of each other
Yeah.
with the protagonist who's kind of like I don't know.
like a whoa kind of a thing. But and I do think he plays it differently, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why, and this is the first thing I saw him in, and then everything else he's a bad guy. So like I've always liked him, even though he always plays an asshole because of this one movie. This is the first thing I saw.
Watch Downloading Nancy.
That sounds interesting.
I will
It's a
say,
wonderful movie. Go ahead.
there's definitely a lot to critique about the acting, but I think in terms of casting, it was very well cast.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
a
I
lot
think
of grade
Yeah,
A actors in this
It's like-
movie. The detective is
Well, and like
wonderful.
like Neve said that originally they had
Mm.
tried to get William Hurt to play the Doctor, and
Mm.
originally like Kiefer Sutherland didn't think the role was right for him. So like those.
But I think in both the protagonists and Kiefer Sutherland,
Uh,
there's a little bit of like, well, their acting isn't really great here, and I'm like, but for the movie, I think it works very well because it always has you a little bit on edge where you're not sure that the character is what you think they are.
agreed. Yeah.
So like even the protagonist, at
Mhm.
least to me,
in
even
this
at the end of the
particular
movie-
role, it works because we want that kind of like
but also like
awkwardness.
exactly, there's a little bit of awkwardness and there's a little bit of like you're saying where he almost plays a better antagonist.
Yeah.
So even by the end of the movie where it's like he has this power, I feel like there's a little bit of a hint where you're kind of on edge that he's not going to use it for good.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. He has that creepy darkness that's under there where it's
Yeah, where
like,
it's like you're
is this guy
kinda-
a psycho? Did we just give God power? Like,
Yeah,
that's a
where
good point too.
there's a little bit of like, like Kiefer Sutherland, where it's like, oh, he's the Nazi, but he's not exactly. So even like when he's offering, like, just take the thing, he's got the gun on him, just take the thing.
Right.
To me, even at that point, it's like, obviously you wouldn't trust him, but I'm like, wait, is he telling the truth then?
Yeah.
And then later he switches it out and it's like, oh, he is actually helping.
Yeah.
And then there's a little bit of like, now that the protagonist has the power, like there's all these things leading up to it of like, he
That's really
saved the
interesting.
fish. There's
Yeah.
all these like, he's a good guy,
Right.
right?
Right.
But because the way he acts, you're always like, I don't know that he is.
Yeah,
though.
he has the outburst with his uncle where he's looking at the photos. He's like, no, this
Yeah,
is
and
really-"
you do
Yeah.
see him get
Yeah.
violent a couple of
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
He does antagonist way much better.
And
than
even-
This actually
that
reminds me of
protagonist.
like it's a weird connection to make, but like Gnosticism, like a demiurge.
Yeah.
Like a corrupt child god.
Right.
Like God is real, but he's
Yeah. Yeah.
Be
He's
afraid.
unhinged. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
We need,
yeah.
we
I
need a
think we
sequel.
brought that up.
Because all he just wants to go to the fucking beach.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's all he wants. He wants to go to the
If you fuck
goddamn
with that
beach.
vision, if you fuck with that vision of his perfection, then like you're gonna feel the wrath.
Oh,
So, yeah,
this
that's-
reminds
that's
me
kind
of a quote from Cube or
such a
Spear,
good
or
one.
wait, no, it's Spear. Spear, and they're talking to the alien being, and the alien being's like, one of the people says, I would rather the alien being not have any emotion. And they were like, why is that? And he's like, because what happens when an infinitely powerful being gets
Gets mad,
angry?
yeah.
If he had no emotion, I would be way happier with the situation.
Spear, the Michael Crichton movie
Yes,
about the
because
yeah.
the alien actually says, I am happy.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, oh, Jesus Christ. And they're like, what? That's good. He's happy. He's like, what happens when he's not happy?
Yeah. Yeah.
We need a sequel, guys. A sequel where it's like 20 years after.
Like
He's
what
been in
John
control.
Murdoch did.
He's
Light
sitting
City.
there like floating through the air. Just
Light City is daytime always.
Light City.
Light City.
Oh
He's
my
made
God.
other petri
Holy
dishes.
shit.
Oh,
He's-
He's conquered
Yeah.
other one.
The stars, yeah, right.
Dark
Whoa.
shitty.
I'm thinking,
Whoa, dude.
what is that that movie? Who played Wolverine in the 2000 X-Men?
Hugh
Hugh Jackman.
Man.
What's that movie with Hugh Jackman where he like reincarnates constantly?
Oh, the fountain.
The Fountain.
That fucking
Yeah.
great.
It's almost like you come back and he's like that dude in the fountain who's like,
I really like
and
that
just-
movie.
I don't know. I was telling him afterwards, I would be really concerned about having a God who can instantly create things and does so, like not like the watchmaker
Yeah.
set it and forget it God, like a God who's active,
Mm.
who has like 4 memories. And like
Yeah.
2 of them are from killing prostitutes.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
he's like, I love beach. I'm pretty sad about all the violent shit I've
I like
seen.
my
my
girlfriend
Let's
and
see
I like
what kind of
prostitutes.
yeah. He's
and
like, I
killing
want to
them."
make this girl happy, but also I've had to fight some dudes, and that's
We-
all I really
That's
know.
a good point.
We were
It's
saying-
like 90% of
dinner-
his
That's
memories
not
are super.
We were
violent.
joking. We were joking when we just watched the movie. We were joking about how he just wants to get to the beach, and the only reason he saved the fish is because the beach.
Little fish up and hits you to the beach,
Yeah,
man.
beach.
Yeah, dude.
So my second
Many
thing,
layers.
my second thing, the schlock sound effects throughout the movies. At the end of it, when he's doing the memories and you hear the in
Yeah.
between the memories,
Yeah.
also the mind blast.
Yeah.
We are almost getting to 80s levels of
Oh, it's,
schlock
yeah,
with
that,
these
that
sound
final
effects.
showdown's very, very.
Okay, but you know what saves it though? Nighttime. When the setting is very dark, it makes CGI a lot better.
Right, exactly. And they knew it then and they know it now. That's exactly right. I do love that
Zack Snyder
ending.
has
The concept of like, yeah, he does. Hey, Watchmen's good though. Okay.
Lighting is
I'll
so-
Yeah,
go to
okay,
the-
but I watched the Superman Batman crap.
Yeah, it's
That's
terrible.
What I could see of it.
So bad. So
Okay, but that's because that's
Dude, Ben
daytime,
Affleck
right?
is not Batman.
no.
No,
That's
he's not.
why lighting is so important.
I bet
This is why lighting is so
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
If I
because
could take
a
a
lot
moment.
of when you
And
think of
she'll
that,
bring up stuff
that's
about
like-
lighting constantly that like I never would have thought about, and I'm like, whoa, man, that really does like just.
Where I'm like, don't
just
you wish
that.
you could see this movie? It's like,
because
Yeah.
Superman is bad because it's always day for Superman.
And then the Batman was bad because it was, I mean, just
It was
so
just bad.
You
utterly
mean like the
dark and
Superman
then
special
glowing
effects, that
eyes
makes
and,
sense. That makes sense.
because he's got the bat suit on in that one, right? The Ben Affleck one.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and they're just covering really horrible CG.
My favorite Ben Affleck thing is at the end of the Justice League supercut when it's
it's Mark
Jared
Hamill.
Leto Joker
Oh.
meets Ben Affleck Batman. He's like, when we're done, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah, it's so bad, dude. It's like
That's
he's
my
gonna-
favorite
he
thing
gives the
ever.
reach around line. Like that whole scene is so bad.
It's so-
so bad.
Would you guys say that Dark City is the perfect amount of what we should have for the whole argument of practical effects versus CGI?
Yeah,
The perfect blend of the two of them together.
yeah.
Where it's like, yes, obviously a cityscape might need CGI, but then they built the giant
The face.
the face.
Yeah.
And that was an actual mechanical
Right.
machine that
The
they
practical
actually
effects
built.
were great.
Yes.
The CGI was fucking
bad,
horrible.
bad.
I mean, it's 98.
I'm not,
dude.
dude, I'm not saying
it's
that
98.
CGI
The
can't be
alien,
better.
like, coming out of the head.
I
You're
mean,
talking
we
about the
should
bounce.
not
The
have a
amount,
movie
okay.
that is
Oh, I see what you're
Yeah.
saying.
yeah, all these Marvel
I
movies
see
that
what you're
are,
saying.
are quite literally
Just
99% to
green
the
screen,
point
yeah.
where there's not even actors anymore. It's
Right.
a CGI face on a Korean man for all
You're
I know
saying the
who's actually
balance.
acting the role.
Yes, yeah, I totally
We
agree.
No, I
need-
get you. I
We
get
need
you.
more video drone.
More video.
Yeah.
Oh,
We had a conversation about that, yeah.
let's not spoil
We'll-
too
we'll-
much.
we'll go down that.
I'm about to say,
Yeah.
We'll do
No,
video. drone eventually.
only in
Need
practical
more
effects.
orange
Only in practical
all
effects.
I ask for the video drone, if you guys
Right.
watch the movie,
Less
is
green rooms
let
and
us
orange rooms.
release something first before
Right.
you guys go into a deep dive
She
on
played
that.
at some of that stuff. It was
I will
cool.
say one of the things I think I really did appreciate about Dark City though is the use of color to create an effect of darkness while still being able to see the scene.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you can cheat for sure.
So it's sort of like,
They had to, or
The
we wouldn't
green
see the movie
lighting,
at all.
yeah, so it's like
yeah.
it feels dark, but I can see what's happening,
Right.
and you get like a mood.
Oh,
And
yeah,
like
the
she was
subway.
saying
Yeah,
about
like
even
the
just the
underlying
shadows on the
tone of
face.
like the green, how the green kind of symbolizes like corruption and
Mm.
greed.
Yeah.
A sinister
Envy.
element that is like, yeah, that is like added to it.
Mhm.
Yellow for like
Well, for like
Well, yellow.
unhealthiness,
yeah,
dirtiness.
like when he was like going insane, the scene
Mhm.
it was super yellow. There were spirals all
Yeah,
over.
yellow
Yeah, but that's
tends to be
mania.
like an unhealthy color, yeah.
Yeah,
Mania.
yeah, but like it was yellow. Like yellow kind of captured this state of like
Y'all hating on my boy
decay,
Yellow.
like, insane.
Yo, shout out to
What?
Yellow.
What do you think the blue was? Because it seemed like they used a lot of that for the.
Yeah. I think
Mysticism, eeriness,
The ocean.
esoteric,
I
the
think
ocean.
I think that sorry, I think that the blue was like depression, isolation, of desperation,
Mm.
even. Because it gives like this tone of like just loneliness.
Yeah, like kind of like a cold,
Cold loneliness.
like so it's like even that's interesting because it seems like they use a lot of blue for the strangers where there's a group of them,
Mhm.
but it feels lonely.
Could be
and-
emotionally cold then.
Yeah.
Like, set it off.
So it's like it doesn't feel like you're in a group. It
Yeah.
feels kind of cold and distant, even
Yeah.
though there is a group of them.
I would have never considered the color theory thing, but like yellow is it's sick, and green is I said envy. You said some other things about green.
Corruption, decay.
Corruption and decay.
Yeah,
well,
the-
no, not decay. Decay. Yellow is more decay. Green
Yeah.
is more like corruption, greed. Yeah, lots
And
like
blue-
envy.
And blue is lonely.
Oh yeah, I feel
Sad.
like, but like a light blue. In that scene, it was very like a light blue. It was like a lifeless kind of blue.
Mhm.
in
Yeah, when you
those
get darker
scenes.
blue, it becomes romantic.
Yeah,
Okay.
and purples.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, the lighter
So-
blues are cold, and they also have that implication of separating them from the people.
Yeah.
Where it's like they are outside of this world.
You're talking about almost that iceberg blue where
Yes.
it's just the lightest amount of blue showing in
Yes.
there. Okay.
That's really cool.
There's some themes in that for some Stephen King stories when they talk about like dead-eyed people and
Mm.
stuff like that, where it's almost like cataract blue, where
Yeah.
it's starting to become lifeless almost.
Yeah.
I never thought about the
Almost
colors in
like
this
not
movie,
enough.
actually.
Because there's
Not
not enough,
enough
they're not
blue.
saturated
It's
at
Right, it's
all.
just-
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you
dawn.
notice them because there's nothing else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's either
Like
that
it's
or
black
shadow.
and white basically almost.
Yeah.
But then when so there is color, it's because that's a choice.
Mm.
So it means something.
I had an interesting thought real quick on the idea that we see very little civilization in this movie, except for really only one place, and it's the police detective scenes. Like most places is like, here's a person, maybe there's another person, like there are people there, but there's not a lot. And then the police detective wing actually had like police officers walking by. There were a lot of people, a lot of busyness, and people looked like they were actually working. And I thought that was rather strange because the rest of the movie almost seems like if Murdoch goes off of stage and leaves, it would almost be like that section of the city would just not exist.
Well, I
But
think
the-
that it all is existing at night as well.
Yeah.
Who's active at night still?
Police state, you actually, that's brilliant, thank you.
Yeah,
That
so I
actually
think that's
makes
another
sense.
reason why it was so good for them to involve police as a character in this movie,
'Cause they
not
would be
just
working
because of the
multiple
film noir
shifts like that.
element, but yeah, that's who's active and that's who's gonna be questioning things. That's why the first person to go insane off this that we see is a policeman.
The detective.
Because
specifically.
he's awake
Yeah.
at weird times and.
And
is
less
gonna
people
be
too.
weird-
Oh, yeah.
So like if people are up,
That's a good point because that's
That is a
he
good
talks about-
attention to detail.
That's how he figured it out because he was awake at a weird time.
yeah, and like, you know, detectives, like the whole like trope of them like being up for days at a time.
Yeah,
and
drinking,
investigating
not
days
eating.
and stuff. So if you're gonna take someone with that mind, that's what they're gonna be inclined to do.
Yeah.
They're gonna be harder to knock out.
Also, if you were really good at being a detective, you know, a lot of being a detective is natural intuition. It can't be learned.
Mm.
There's actually very little from what I understand about the subject, and I've researched on it, where the best detectives we're not talking forensics, we're talking about a natural, like, wait a minute, that guy's kind of weird over there. I just have a feeling about it. Almost,
Wait, but couldn't,
Chance brought up Chinatown earlier, which is a noir
Okay,
detective
go ahead.
movie, almost that kind of like jokey detective of like, I just solved the crime automatically. You feel it.
are we saying that, like, are you saying initially that people are just like born with it?
Yes, because if you wanted to be
But what
a
if it
good
is
detective,
learned? But I feel like it's kind of learned though,
But
too.
what if these people did have learned, I mean, we talked a lot about where these people came from, and if they were just grown there, how many,
Yeah,
but
I
like,
don't know.
my initial
Environmental
thought has always
factors
been
teach
that these are people who
Well-
are all just abducted off of
Yeah,
Earth.
but never,
Well,
never let go of
I-
them.
So,
I do really appreciate
Nature will
there's
always
actually a
exist
scene
too.
in the movie
Well,
that
yeah,
draws
no.
direct attention to this
But
with
that's fine.
Kiefer Sutherland as the scientist and William Hurt as the detective, where he actually challenges him. He says, "That's my area of study."
yes.
And
Yeah.
the detective's like, "I've never met anybody like
That's
that."
right,
It's
yeah.
like, who knows people better?
I don't
Yeah.
want to. I don't
Right.
want to
The
put
person
Cheyenne's
who-
theory down, but
And it's sort of like the whole argument of like the soul versus the science.
yes, but
Who
just
actually knows it?
part of the problem with that is to be a good detective, you do have to be able to like do a learned process of like clinical
Yeah, like an
studying.
innate, having an innate thing.
Mm.
No, 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 I know. Like,
But also, if you're trying to track down a serial killer, though, there is an actual practice of idea where you do have to be able to empathize with the serial
Right,
killer.
like
Which
there's
is-
profiling
no, but
of
I'm
it.
Which
saying
is
that
when they
you
put the
can
memories in that guy.
Oh no, I'm taking it. Sorry, I'm saying that you
Right.
can strengthen your
Intuition.
intuition. You can strengthen your intuition.
But you can't learn how to actually empathize with someone who is insane. That's
you
what
can
makes
learn
them
how to
insane.
empathize. You do learn how to.
Not
empathize.
not
but
with someone
the
who
point
is
of this-
insane.
But the
though.
point of this movie is that the soul is more important than what you learn.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was
Oh,
just sorry. I just I
Okay,
jumped in.
Cheyenne,
I was
can I
like
say-
I was disassociating and I jumped in
Oh,
on
okay.
something.
Can I say?
So
you-
maybe
you
I didn't
can-
hear the first part.
You can empathize with someone that's insane.
No, hang on a
Yeah,
second.
no, hold on. No, you hold on a second.
This is no,
You
this is
can
not right.
empathize with someone that's insane, but you cannot empathize with someone that's insane without going insane.
Okay, Cheyenne.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say
That's,
that you
it will
don't
make-
have to
it will make you-
memories.
It
What
will,
the issue-
Nick, it'll
Hold
make
on,
you
what-
crazy.
what
but
are
you
we-
can't do
Okay,
it.
that's what I'm about
What
to
are,
say
what are we
right now.
arguing? Hold on, wait. Okay, because I did jump in, like I
Yeah.
disassociated, and then all I heard was like, you can't learn. You have to be born with intuition, right?
What-
But I don't necessarily fully believe that.
Well,
What
You're
I,
just straight born with full on intuition because
you're not born a place.
Well, I agree with that. You can learn it. Yeah.
yeah, you can
Even- at
learn.
least
You
to a
can
degree.
strengthen your intuition.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying.
But the
That's
problem
it.
that I'm having though is when I say empathize with something, I'm not talking about actual empathy. I'm talking about empathize with their actual perspective. And an insane person's perspective is what makes them insane.
Right.
And a detective has to actually be able to objectively pull themselves out of their body and put themselves into situations where they are empathizing with actual insanity.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
also pull
I mean-
themselves back out and into a normal
Yeah, if
person.
we're going
That's what
about
Fox
it,
Mulder
if we're
did
going
before
about
he
it
joined
that
the
way,
X-Files. Like, he was a
if-
serial killer profiler.
if
You
we
can
are,
be an detective.
yeah.
You can be an insane detective.
if we're going about it that way,
Sorry.
all I'm
I don't
saying
know how I
is
got the X-Files.
my only argument here.
Okay,
No, that
sorry,
makes sense.
and I didn't mean to-
Let's get real.
Exactly.
My only
Let's stop
argument
saying it
here
right now.
is that you can learn, you can strengthen your intuition. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
saying
yeah.
anything.
I'm
other
just
than
saying
that.
And I
that
agree.
a
That's it.
detective would be I'm gonna think that a detective though is, yes, you could do the job of a detective, but I feel like if you were wanting to live the life of a detective, like
Well,
do
yeah,
this
that's
for
the like
decades, that's
That's
kind of
the
a
soul.
natural
That's
born
more
thing.
Yeah,
I think we're getting a
really
little
are,
away
though.
from the movie right
Oh,
now.
right, yeah.
I,
So I think it's probably about that time of night. I'd say let's go around so everybody has a chance to say like main takeaways or something that they feel wasn't addressed, but something they really want to say about the movie.
Here, I'll go first. I think a big takeaway from the movie is that a big part of a human aspect is the soul. And a soul is not your experience or what you're like learning or what's forced into you by other people or into companies or society or whatever. There's a part of you that's like inherent to you that no one else can like force or like teach you or whatever. It's just an inherent part of you as a human.
Would like to.
I mean, that's it, like that, in watching it the second time, or the second, third, fourth, fifth time, this time, like, that really like sticks out to me at the end of it is the messages, like your experiences don't, and especially now, like as a much older adult and having gone through like trauma and all that shit, and then like dealt with it, realized that that's what happened and all that kind of stuff. Like realizing that your experiences don't make you who you are, like is a big thing in the end of it.
All I gotta say is, you know, at the end of the day, I guess you could say it really is a dark city.
I don't know. It's out of range from me
Well
smacking
played.
it.
Well played, sir.
That's why I'm sitting
That's
here.
part of the game.
He knows.
He knows it.
He knows about location.
It's a podcast, you know.
I mean, well,
Yeah, so one thing that I like about it, obviously all this stuff as well, one thing that we touched on is it being such a interesting story that is well built, even though they don't show you all the parts of it. And they're not like, we need to explain to you how the machine works, we need to explain to you this guy's personal history. They leave enough gaps so that we can have this discussion and have it still be fun. But like, it's a good story. And I always liked that. I felt like the root of it was in alien abduction and like Men in Black mythology, where I mentioned when we watched it that the men are very much designed on Men in Black archetypes, where they don't have clear facial features, that sometimes need to be like makeup on, their mannerisms are a little wrong, their names are a little on the nose, just like the way that they interact. They seem to be very built on Men in Black lore, and they even have a little black-eyed kid. And so I like that. I like that it takes existing things and it was like, okay, well, what if they were taking everybody to experiment on them in space? Well, okay, what if there was one dude? Like it just kind of like kept extrapolating. And I like thinking about the creative process of this movie in that way. And I'm glad, like, I feel like the overall result is a little chaotic and hard to follow, but it's as good as it could be with how kind of lofty that concept was, and them only having like 2 hours to convey it.
Jess?
Yeah, kind of like what I said earlier. My main thing, my main take on this movie, I guess, is like, I know it sounds kind of out there, maybe a little crazy, but very like, you have the power to shape your own reality.
yeah.
You have the power to shape your own reality.
Yeah.
And that's what I took from this movie.
Especially if you
It's like-
like remove yourself from the story itself. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that is a good message.
Yeah, that's why I believe, like, if you truly like the concept, if you believe in something hard enough, like, oh, like I can be really good at this thing, then and you go towards it, it will come.
Yeah,
You can get to the beach.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You can get to the beach.
You can make Shell Beach, dude.
You
Like,
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
That's the thing,
take
you
from
can't
And
this.
that
find
is
the beach,
there.
you
I
can
think
make
that's
it,
100% there.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my main take.
Yeah.
That's why I argued about the intuition.
Yeah.
I feel like you really
Mm.
feel guided to do something.
I see where you're going. Yeah, where it's like part of it is the like you can get there.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but I'm extremely optimistic. So
What I took from it was exactly what you took from it, but I still can't help thinking that maybe some people take it a little too literally.
True.
And I've known some people in my life like that, like, yeah, you can manifest things. But they're like, you have to work.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
always gotta be the actual
You
work.
can't
put in.
just, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy.
yeah,
Can't do that.
And plus, there are like hard limits. If you're like 5 foot even, like you
No,
can't
but
be the
everyone's-
best basketball player ever.
everyone's like born with like
Yeah.
weird like the nature versus nurture. Everyone's born with like in these environments, different environments that hinder but also give us our weaknesses, our strengths, stuff like that. And I feel like that is like so
I think
important in adapting beliefs and like overcoming certain
Yeah, like
things.
what is nature versus nurture?
Yeah.
And how do you adapt to it even as an
But,
adult?
there's
Yeah.
also an idea where it's like you're fighting an uphill battle, and sometimes your energy can be better spent in the things you're synergistic with too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So even if you do want to, like Dave was saying with the basketball thing, like if I'm 5 foot tall, I can't be the best
Right.
basketball player unless I get a great 3-point shot or something.
Yeah.
I would have to spend years finding my special talent.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it actually is just simpler to be like, maybe that's not the thing I should be focused
Yeah,
on,
but
even if I
sometimes-
really want to, though.
But there's that weird like, there is that weird like, sorry, I'm losing words, but there is that weird case where like there is that person that is doing that.
Right, even
Yeah.
with like what you would
Is
think
what
of
I'm
as
saying.
limitations.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
what-
not 0
Yeah,
5-foot basketball. player.
Yeah, like it seems like
Yeah.
they shouldn't be able to, but they're doing it.
Not
Yeah.
with everything, but like there
Right.
is weird cases where it just things just can work out that way because the person believes that it can.
What do you call it, an outlier? There's always the
Right.
outlier.
Yeah.
that
And that's
is-
essentially what he was, like you said, Mr. Book said, like it would take several of our lifetimes to do this. And how long have they been there? They've probably been there for lifetimes. We don't know that, but like, yeah, you're
And
absolutely.
like I don't
very
believe in like
least-
crazy manifestation, like, oh, I can like levitate, like if I like can believe fully that
Yeah.
I can, like I'd spend time like
But-
you
But I
know,
know what you
meditating,
mean,
but
though,
like
I do like that
if you
about the movie though. That's,
strongly really
the
put,
actual goal is pretty simple. It's you're just trying to get to the beach.
Yeah,
Right.
and the nice thing is like, you know, like,
Like,
if
can
you
you
are just
believe-
pursuing what you should be pursuing and what your heart wants, then like, that might not be exactly what you get. Like, okay, he just wants to go to the beach, but he also toppled an oppressive regime.
Right.
In the process, he did what was good for everyone around him because he was just
But
dedicated
that was just a
to it.
byproduct.
Which
He
was
just
also-
wanted to
exactly.
get
But that's
Then
part of
just
the
need to get to
steps.
the
The
beach.
That's like
step
a
on your
dude-
way to
That's
your
the human
path.
soul.
That's like a
Yeah,
dude
and it's like-
defeating the Nazi Empire to be like, I just wanted to go to Normandy Beach.
Yeah.
Do you? Well, I
That's
mean,
why
Hitler
Nazis
just
can't
wanted to
exist.
collect
That's what makes it
religious
beautiful.
artifacts,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
there they were. So-
Indiana
so-
Jones, we're all back to Indiana Jones
I
here.
don't know. Do you believe that you can get to the beach? That's it.
And maybe really good
That's
things
it.
will happen to you on your way to the beach,
I was
like
saying,
you
what if
fall
it's
in
the
love.
journey?
Yeah.
Journey's important.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
it's
What
not the
Kris is saying.
destination, but also
Yeah.
make the destination if you don't get to the destination.
Yeah.
The beach is wherever you
Yeah.
are with your mind.
No,
I
Also-
was just gonna say, The Hobbit is awesome because it's The Hobbit. They
Yeah.
don't care about what happens at the end when he writes the dumb little book and everything. Then we want to hear about the elves and smog and whatnot. Like the journey is always a huge part of this more than the actual destination.
So, Nick, is there a final thing you want to say about the movie?
This is a wonderful movie, and I want to say for being a film noir about like, you know, darkness and like mystery and thriller, there is so much humanity in this movie. I wanted to bring up just one final point, and it's such an important one. Does anyone remember when Mr. Hand dies at the end of it?
Yeah.
He has been given human emotion,
Mhm.
and as he's dying, he expresses, we've only seen fear and kind of like a small amount of anger from these creatures.
Mhm.
He gives one more emotion, regret.
Mhm.
As he dies, he kind of has this sense of like,
I got this wrong, like, yeah.
yes, and he just dies.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say, Mr. Hand is actually the only one of them that actually kind of experienced almost a full range of emotion
Right.
there.
Mm.
And I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was such a small point of the movie, though, that
Yeah.
it kind of gets overshadowed.
And they
but-
don't really tack on that, like, this is the one that's got the full dose
Yeah.
of the people. Like, he's got the
They
human.
figured out what the medicine was,
Right.
and they could have maybe empathized with the humans and been like, okay, we're not going to kill any more of you to like take
That's what I
them
loved about your
slaves.
point, is like, they couldn't have gotten it. Like,
Yeah, 'cause
they maybe had already gotten it before.
Yeah,
and
the
didn't
experiment was
realize
never
It
gonna
was-
work because
I
it was
never
always
thought
right
about
in
it
front
like
of
that.
It was
Yeah.
almost like the noir movie ended right there,
Yeah,
and the rest of it is like, here's your cake now.
yeah, yeah,
Because the noir was they actually did learn the secret, and the movie's over.
right,
And
right,
now they're dead.
right. Yeah.
Movie's over. Now we're at the beach.
And
I can't stop thinking of Mr. Hands.
Yeah.
How his last thought was regret.
Oh my god.
It's just like the real Mr. Hands.
This was just a bad idea.
I'm sorry.
I do love too that I'd never really processed this before until this time, that William Hurt like has a full kind of emotional character journey too. Like he, as an investigator, he's trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. It starts
Yeah,
out with his
heartless.
partner going insane and all this kind of stuff, and the spirals and the murders. But by the end, yeah, he dies, but he does see the whole city from his perspective. He sees it with his own eyes, and it's like, oh fuck, that's what the fuck is going on here,
Yeah.
you know, in his final moments. And like, I never really taken that up because I always was bummed out that he just falls out the fucking window.
But he gets his justice. He solves
Exactly,
his case, and that
exactly.
was all he
Yeah,
wanted to do.
yeah. And then his story's over at that.
I'm about to say, for an investigator,
That's what I'm saying. He gets closure like as his character. Like he does have a full loop.
Mhm.
It's kind of nice.
So, that's right. Neef, do you have any final thoughts about the movie?
Yeah.
Things that you feel like we didn't touch on? Do you just want to say?
My final takeaway No, I mean, cool. I think it was very well done in a way that it can expand out. There is no definite answer that you're left with necessarily. I think the message that I get from the movie is like many films, the social commentary coming out of that is very much socio-political government control is a hive mind. It is not people. It is not the people that we see or we represent or any of that. The entity itself is a hive mind that has convinced people that it is necessary for them, much like a parasite does to a host. And the idea is that regardless of what you're told or what you think you remember, because this hive mind is in control, the reality around us will shape in and out of time without our actual ability to do anything about it. And so even if we get to that beach, we find that, well, it's fabricated. Or we're just told that's what it is. And we have to actually take control ourselves of either our own lives or destiny, or overthrow the entire thing in which you end up with one entity, him being one person, a dictator, or a new idea. And where it leaves you saying, well, what is he going to do with this flat world now?
Right.
Is he going to, he brought the sun out, but is he going to leave it in the sun?
He's gonna make it round for starters.
I mean, yeah.
He doesn't remember round earth.
Yeah, does he even understand that concept?
Right.
You know,
Well, they have all
there's
those
so many
cycles
things.
in the
So
movie.
what I'm saying is that regardless of what he can or can't do, the abilities that he gained by doing what he did, he is still limited by what the knowledge of the history that was built there. So even someone stepping in saying, I've got this new way, it cannot really be founded on anything more than the last way was, because, it's going off the same information that it was given. You know, unless you're coming from a completely other place. But they're not. They're all there, and that's,
Isn't this the Plato's cave
You
argument?
never thought about
Like they're outside the cave now and they have
Right.
to
Yeah,
explore
kinda,
the
yeah.
world.
A little bit, yeah. I never thought about it like that.
but that's me being heady around.
It's a good take,
I think-
though.
Yeah,
I always love this quote from Silence of the Lambs. Clarice Starling says, "You fall in love with the FBI does not fall in love with you." And it's the idea that like you can become addicted to the system, but then like when the system's done with you, it'll get rid of you. And honestly, it's kind of weird watching a movie where a whole society was created for the complete benefit of an alien species and not for us in any way.
right.
It's a little too on the nose in some ways for me. Like everything else about the movie is so wonderful, and then that conspiracy part right there was always kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
That's back on great lines from Silence of the Lambs.
It puts the lotion on the skin.
Well, they absolutely refuse to put the fucking lotion in the basket. What
I was
Best
gonna say, to Neve's point, something that struck me about the ending of the movie is even though he's in control, he's in control of a ship or satellite, whatever you want.
Yeah.
That is the aliens thing. So it's not like they made it back to Earth.
Right, yeah.
So
I've
even
been wondering
like
what happens when that
there's the
technology
beach.
breaks down or
exactly.
something.
Yeah.
There's
He
a
has
And
no
everyone
knowledge
only
of how
has
to
like
fix
4
it.
memories of
Yes.
peace.
Yeah.
Right, maybe the doctor knows how
So
to
it's
work
still
it.
like it's like, oh, he's good, and it's like, yeah, but it's still built on something that.
Terrible,
What
yeah.
is this built on?
Right.
Mr. Hand, no, come back.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
You made a
introduce
horse?
Mr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we all?
Mr. Hand, if you
Yeah.
don't do
I
this
wanna
for me,
know.
I'm gonna get the horse. back out.
What are horses?
We gotta bring Mr. Ham on the pod.
Host, what is your final thought before we close off?
Yeah, David Penn, the host.
David Penn.
No, lazy though.
The only thing that I would like to, which was touched on a little bit earlier, but I do think is an important part of the movie, is the set design. I think when you get into things like, oh, like the Matrix used the same set design or same sets, literally. Like, it's not just because like, oh, out of convenience, those are really good sets.
Yeah.
I think almost every scene, there's some weird CG scenes that I think the sets were kind of whatever because they're going to use CG.
Yeah.
But any scene that isn't had a really great set where there's a lot of little details, a lot of things are set up perfectly for the framing of the camera, so that you have this like distance and really gives this feeling to it.
Yeah. Dark City walks, so the Matrix could.
But even
make sure.
Right.
I don't have anything.
I do love like the framing and just the way that like the cinematography of it's phenomenal too.
because even just simpler things like how the beginning of the movie where he's in the bathroom, you have the tiles, and throughout the movie everything's made with bricks, and it creates a lot of lines.
Yeah.
Which adds that feeling of kind of claustrophobia and being like in a web.
Yeah.
Where it's like there's a little like
It's almost
I
like
never
the.
thought of that.
you don't feel open, you don't feel room to breathe because
Right.
everything's very like
Right.
It's like it's almost like the strangers can't think of abstract concepts and they can only think of like puzzle block.
like
that
everything's like
almost.
just puzzles fitting together, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Huh.
It's like constraining you as
Not
opposed to
free flowing.
Yeah, it's
But I
not
was
a
gonna say,
puzzle.
if you're
that-
only going to expose about 60% of your set lighting wise in every scene, it should be very detailed.
Yeah.
Very good.
uh,
And they know people will look at it because one of the points is, look at this detail. Can you believe that we
Yeah.
can do this? So they know we're looking at it.
yeah, which I
It's
think
like,
to your point, why lighting is important, along with the sets, is they have a very good control over what the audience is looking at any given time. So they can really direct like the viewership of like they know you're looking here, so we can really. And I think that
yeah, so
itself is
everything's
an art.
important, which works
Exactly.
with the noir thing as well. It's like, okay, what do I see in this scene?
Yeah,
What do I spy? It's important. I know that.
that would be nice. Does anyone have any final things they want to touch on?
I
or
like
should we
all
start trying to
the I
wrap
like all
up?
the little postcards of the beach throughout the movie.
Yeah.
There's a game that you can do where it's like anytime you see one, you're supposed to drink. I highly recommend it because if you don't pay attention in every single scene, basically there is a postcard that
everywhere.
says Shell Beach on
Right
it.
on.
Oh.
So just for everyone to have fun.
Yeah. Don't do the Lebowski drinking
drinking
game. Don't
game.
do the Dark City drinking game.
My takeaway from the movie is you should definitely drink.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys watched it though. Yeah, it's a good one.
It's a
I
great
feel like
movie.
It's an underrated gem.
All right. I guess we should probably wrap it up here. Does anyone want to replug things?
Next week. Next week.
Sweet.
If you didn't know, we do a book club in the same format that we do this movie club. We're reading V for Vendetta.
Remember,
V for
5th of
Vendetta.
November.
Reading that next week. It's a comic book by Alan Moore, recommended.
Graphic novel, please.
Well,
Yeah, but
recommend-
I'm not a part of book club.
Still recommended by
She
you.
won't be there, but she did
Yeah.
recommend it.
Yeah.
Much like Alan Moore
And,
disavowed the movie renditions of all of his works. Cheyenne has disavowed. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Disavow.
recommend Justine by the Marquis.
Hell yeah,
de
dude.
Sade.
That's all I got. Check out
Hell
Adiractic.
yeah.
Check out Pullover Media. Check out Knife Back on Instagram. Check out Catch Fire.
And full
And
flavor. Neep in the full flavor, baby.
Mm.
December 5th at the Underdog.
December 5th at the Underdog. And Kris, it's sold out already,
Street
right?
theater, we have many productions and
Muppets.
Kindling Arts Fest. We do really cool shit. So
Hell yeah.
I can't wait for the Muppets.
Yeah,
I'm
the
gonna go see
Muppets
that
Christmas
one.
Carol.
We're gonna
coming
be
up.
Thank you everyone for being here, and we'll
Thank
see you next week for V for Vendetta. Bye.
I will be here.
Love you.
Bye.